Sup?
Content creator with a specialty in team.
I changed my title here. Oh my gosh, I have to ping everyone about everything. Which meme should we use for today? Ping my Discord. Okay, I think everything is posted, so I think we can actually start doing things. Boston Uprising replying to my tweet. Oh, jeez. Honestly, I don't care what y'all say. Whoever is doing the Boston Uprising social media is like killing it. Really. Like, it's esports, y'all. We need to stop taking ourselves so seriously. It's driving up engagements, driving up interest. Alright, let's, sorry, check chat. Prepare for echoes to never die, guys. My ears are feeling blessed. Bro thinks he's a streamer. Sounds like an acapella group. Amazing vocals. I feel like a good time to never get super high damage games. Yeah, I mean, don't worry about it. Like, damage stats don't matter, y'all. I mean, they do matter to an extent, but they really don't matter. I see you kind of busy with private coaching. We're supposed to get one within this week. Not likely, no. Oh yeah, my game is patching. I need to reset. There's a funky screen movement when you shoot as loads of heroes. All right, so I have not seen the patch notes. I purposefully avoided them. I don't want to see them so I can have a completely legitimate, totally brand new. So don't say anything because I literally have not seen any of them. Somebody made a tweet on their personal account talking about their strategy and growth. Yeah, that one was pretty funny. I saw that. Okay, let's Oh, Mojak, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. Let's all right, guys. Let's look at these patch notes. I'm really scared. Oh no! What are they gonna do? All right, let me get Epic Pin pulled up. I'm actually patching. Stop Edge. Stop Microsoft Edge and Cortana trying to like download themselves into my body. Stream dead? Maybe. There better not be stream issues right now. Am I good? My kilobytes per second is really low. I don't know what that means. I've got a green bar, but it's really low. No shot, my stream is dead. Can you, am I good? Somebody in chat confirmed that I'm alive. Am I laggy? Okay, we're good. Okay. Dang it, man. What's going on with the internet? You know what? Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna check the cord. Let me just check the cord. Give me 1 second. You know what it is? It's this stupid. Because I'm in here. I have to. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think we're okay. If anything goes out, I'm just gonna weep openly. Hopefully we're okay though. Thanks so much for the sub, mate. I appreciate it. Yeah, I had to move rooms because I've got family visiting. So yeah. Okay, let's take a look at these so-called patch notes. Here we go. New event, Star Watch Galactic Rescue. I saw a TikTok on this that was posted on Reddit or something. And I'm gonna check. I'm not gonna really comment on this as much. Obviously, we just need to play it. It looks fun. Battle for Olympus returns. Cool. I like this game. I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I actually really enjoyed playing this. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of fun. It was more fun than just about like any like custom event that I've like ever played. I mean, definitely wasn't like super replayable, but it was fun. Okay. Ping system group up cannot be used while dead. Okay, here we go. Okay. Junker Queen, Scattergun, maximum ammo increase from 6 to 8. Okay. Probably reasonable change. Jagged Blade, projectile increased by 33%. Fine. It was definitely very small, so I think a slight increase is fine. And depending on playability, it's always hard to say like how big of an impact is it, you know? But I think this is going to be tangible. Oh, the push game mode. Sorry. The respawn timers for players increased by 2 seconds from 12 while their team's forward spawn location is activated. Okay. Interesting. So when you have good spawns, it takes you longer to respawn. Interesting. Which makes it theoretically less snowbally. Can I also move cam? I sure can. Constantly bouncing my face around. Like, feels like I'm playing versus Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. I'll have to try it out in... See, here's the thing. It's like a lot of these things, you need to like try out to see how they play. Okay, sure. Push change is reasonable, yeah. Jagged Blade increased. Rampage now deals 40 impact damage. Wound decreased from 100 to 60. Is that the axe? Right? So basically there's more damage. The old. Oh. Right. But so it only did 100 damage? Right, so there's more of the damage is up front. More of the damage is up front. So 140, okay, these all seem reasonable. Adrenaline Rush, passive healing multiplier increase from 1.25 to 2 times dealt by wounds. Also pretty reasonable. I definitely feel like Junker Queen's self-sustain was honestly totally irrelevant unless you get multi-hits with Carnage, which is the axe. but that doesn't happen very often. All right, I'm gonna be that guy. I don't think this is exactly a hot take, but I don't think that these changes are like unbelievably busted. I think you're going to see a lot of Junker Queen being played because she's a popular hero and people are just wanting for any excuse to play her. And these are definitely tangible buffs. Tangible, very tangible, minor but tangible, minor but definitely tangible. But I don't think these are bad. This seems very reasonable to me. And the best part about it is they didn't touch her shout, which is by far the most annoying part of her kit. Carnage heals for 320? That can't be right. Carnage doesn't do 160 damage, does it? No. Does Carnage have 130? Wait. Does Carnage heal off of the hit? I thought it was only the wounds healed. Yeah. Right, 40 wound damage. Wait, impact heals too. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. It's definitely significant. Impact does not. Okay, so it's only the wound. Okay. So then I don't think this is that broken. It's going to be, again, tangible, but not necessarily broken. I actually really like this change too, because it actually reinforces her ability to actually poke with more consistency, whereas it felt like with Junker Queen there was a lot of downtime with her ability to actually put out mid-range pressure. Shut up. I'm sorry. I honestly didn't know. All right. Okay. This is good. I'm gonna give this my thumbs up of approval. Will Junker Queen be overpowered potentially? Yes. Is that necessarily bad? No. She's still a relatively skillful tank. She's pretty enjoyable. She's one of the more fun heroes to play. She needs her time to shine. I'm down for it. I don't care. I'm down for it. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Damage increase from 12 to 13. I'm also okay with this. I just wish that they had... I just wish that, like, to me, the damage isn't even necessarily the problem. I would have preferred that they kept the range, the spread thing, because having a tank that could have put out a little bit of mid-range pressure would have been okay, but whatever, this is fine. I hope that if Arissa feels oppressive again, that they actually deal with the tankiness and not the damage. That really ticked me off, but this isn't a problem. Do you think it will impact owl play? Yes, it will. Yes, almost certainly. Jetpack damage raised before follow-up begins increase from... Okay, so Winston gets a small buff. This is again tangible as well. For the impact damage is a little bit more forgiving. Significant, no. Tangible, yes. Wrecking Ball, adaptive shield duration increase or decrease from 9 to 7 seconds. Small change, but I actually think this is okay. I actually noticed this. I was like, did they buff this recently? Or is this always this way? But in Overwatch 1, the shields died so fast. I wonder when Owl will play in this patch. I would imagine next stage, but I'm not sure. It might be for the playoffs of this coming stage. That's a classic Owl move, is to do something in the regular season and shift it right before the playoffs for this stage. But yeah, this I do think is a reasonable change. I don't hate any of these tank changes, guys. And for me, if I don't hate a change, that's generally good, because unless I have a really, really strong misgiving, it just needs practice to actually see if it's a good change or not. I'm okay with this. I really am. I think this is okay. All these changes seem okay to me. Echo, duplicate ultimate cost reduced by 25%. Whoa. but then the ultimate generation decreased from 5.5 to 4 times. Huh. You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like this change too. Do you think ball changes will have an impact? A very minimal impact. It's more of a just, it's less obnoxious to play against ball. I like what they're trying to do though. They're making ultimate available more often, but it feels like you can pick an ultimate, like generating ultimates, a trillion ultimates in one copy is less of the, it's less of the focus. Because you're really only going to get one anyway, and you'll get one pretty much regardless of who you pick. You're not going to be able to farm up 2 pulse bombs, 3 diva bombs, whatever. I think this is reasonable. It's a risky move, but it's one I'm willing to try out, right? And see how it goes. I still think you're going to prioritize in picking somebody who has the ultimate because it's still 4 times ult, so you're still going to build the ultimate. But it's now, you don't have to only pick Diva Tracer for multiple ultimates. You guys kind of see what I'm saying? You're going to get one ultimate regardless of who you pick, but you might not get 2 or 3. So that nerfs heroes like Diva and Tracer a little bit, which in my opinion isn't a bad thing. Now wait a second, yeah, does the Wrecking Ball thing mean that he gets it back faster? Does the cooldown start on activation of the ability or the expiration of the ability? Does anybody know? I feel like it might be the latter. In other words, when you press shields, does the cooldown start or when the shields end? Okay, so it's a net nerf. Okay, net nerf, but a small nerf. Okay, Junkrat, maximum damage increase from 100 to 110. Nah. I don't know. I worked with Flame himself on Junkrat, and he was talking a little bit about this, about how the one-shot combo doesn't work as it properly should. But I'm also in the park of like, screw it, it shouldn't work because the hero is just fundamentally broken. But I mean, whatever, you know. We'll give it a little bit of a red X because I just don't like Junkrat, and I think he should not be good. But yeah, nah. This is a step in trying to make Junkrat playable, and it's probably the right step, but I don't want Junkrat to be playable. So screw you. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm saying. This is like a short-term fix, but honestly, it's just like, it's like the Moira thing. It's giving her utility, but like, do we really want that right now? You know, okay. Anyway, support on a biotic grenade, explosion healing decrease from 100 to 60. I think it's a little harsh. And this is like the opposite of the Junkrat one. Okay? This is probably balanced, but Ana is a good and balanced hero, and she deserves to be meta for as much as she wants. Screw Moira, screw Mercy. You know, even to an extent, Batiste is not as enjoyable. I don't think this is a major nerf, but this is tangible, and I don't think she deserves it. This falls into the reduced sleep dart on tank thing, where I'm just like, I get it, but I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Think we should have nerfed Ana damage back to 70 after Cass got HP nerf instead of this? Yeah, that's a reasonable argument. Nade does 60. I like, the thing is like, until we actually have more supports like Moira and Mercy that are more honest, or supports like Batiste that have better utility, or supports like Lifeweaver that are actually like even barely functionable, I don't think you want to nerf Ana. Like, how many Ana supports heroes do we actually have right now? 2, Ana and Lucio, right? And yeah, I don't agree with this. I think these are the 2 worst changes in these patch notes. I don't like these changes, and I'm scared to see. Hey, Conk. Yeah, I don't blame you. It looks really fun. I mean, even Zen. I would rather have Zen meta than Moira meta. And honestly, here's a hot take. I'd have a Zen meta over a Bat meta too. This scares me. I don't want to see what I'm about to see down here. I mean, I get it. The hero's not super strong right now, but Baptiste is not. Baptiste is a sleeper brainless hero, okay? Now hear me out. Let me give you the full context here. Weapon play, very high skill ceiling, right? Immortality field and shift, less so. Until you fix his shift in terms of utility, I don't want a Baptiste meta. I don't want a Baptiste meta. This isn't a significant buff, but again, it's tangible. I don't like it. 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 I'm not Baptiste, better Baptiste over other heroes, but I don't like it. Kiriko, kunai reloads after 65% of the animation has completed. Okay, so this is more quality of life. Okay, sure. Life Weaver, Life Grip. Reinhardt is no longer a valid target for Life Grip during Earth Shatter, and using Earth Shatter will cancel Life Grip. Okay. Oh, man. Good change. Good change. Terror search cannot be activated by pressing ultimate button again. Okay. Block now respecs holding the input through being stunned, so I guess it goes back to blocking again. Maybe? I don't know. Nothing super here. I would love somebody that has more patience than I do to go through all this and like actually tell me what all this means. But there's some interesting changes here. Okay, so here, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? So the good, okay? I think the Junker Queen, honestly, the tank buffs as a whole feel like overall good. Some of them are a little bit more debatable, but overall feel good. The good could also go into the Echo changes as well. The ugly definitely falls into the Junkrat category, the buff on Junkrat, where I understand why it's done. I just don't agree with it. And the same thing goes with the Baptiste changes as well. But the bad for me is the Ana change. I don't think this is necessarily where I want to go. That being said, largely reasonable patch notes. Largely reasonable patch notes. The quality of life changes are cool. Karki put them in his vid. All right, you guys go check out the Karki video then, because Karki will do a much better job of testing this out. Karki is like the ambassador, the liaison for Blizzard and the average plat chat. So his videos are always really good. Okay. They added a lot of hold options to characters in the quality of life section. Okay, I will have to test some of those out and see a better video explanation of those, but we'll do that later. Brick can survive a Tracer Pulp Bomb using her ult at 10 HP. Samita will mold over another immortality field buff. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The irony is that immortality field's not even good. Like, it's not even that good. It's just still annoying. Like, yeah. Yo, hey, Poke.
Your monthly
Thank you, sir. Hope you've been doing well. I saw you went out live with your Patreon yesterday. Hope that's going well. Yeah, of course. Okay. Wait. What are you guys talking about with the Genji thing? Oh, yeah, just some stuff with some optional stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it might be more noob trap stuff more than anything else, but that's okay. We can live with that. All right, let's get to the juice, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to what you came here for. You know what I'm saying? Me to play mystery heroes. No, I'm just Overwatch League, Vancouver, Boston. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys. That I got baited last week because I enjoyed the Soul Infernal and the Soul Dynasty matchup, but I don't think it was very popular. even though it was a good match. So I'm running an experiment. I am always selfish about the matches that I go over. I only want to go over matches that I want to go over. However, I do tend to lean to review matches that the populace want to look at, right? And everybody was saying they wanted to watch Soul versus Soul, but I don't think they actually did. So I enjoyed it, but I'm going to try this one because I wanted to watch it, and I did not watch this game. And because I think the general population wants to watch it, even though it wasn't that close from what I'm hearing. So I know this isn't going to be a good match, but it might be a very entertaining one. So this is my experiment. Do people want to watch a good match, or do people want to watch an entertaining match? Sometimes they'll be both, sometimes they'll be not. We'll see. We're all innate polled, you know this? I mean, I know that, but I had no problem with my, was my other APAC scrim review. Had no problem with that one. It was just the Soul versus Soul people weren't as interested in. So I'm gonna have to, I'm testing the algorithm, right? Listen guys, I can coach the game. I don't know jack all about content, okay? I could barely press the buttons on the tweet, and I have to do this for my job, so it's even worse, right? So yeah, we're like, this is like a boomer having to learn how to do other real things in the world, so we're trying this. Okay, let's, Boston wasn't like hard throwing. Okay, so we'll see. But yeah, we know that Vancouver, okay, we got to get our rank here. We know that, oh, we also got to fix my face here. Well, fix my face. There's only so much that you can do in that front. But yeah, okay, there. Rank. Bronze. I think we're good to go. So we know that Vancouver wins 3-0. I know the first map was close, but again, I have not seen this match. No spoilers as to what happens. Obviously, we know it was a 3-0, but we don't know spoilers about compositions or anything. I want to react to it live.
It goes through some health stuff, and then they just, okay, Twilight, you're full.
One more time, every single replay review that I'm going to, or Overwatch review I'm going to do for the rest of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a replay viewer out there, and it is accessible. But it is not for the general public. Nobody knows why. Overwatch League teams that have access to the replay viewer are not allowed to use it for analytical content whatsoever, and no third-person stuff, even for highlight reels whatsoever. Otherwise, they have legal action threatened on them, supposedly by Blizzard. Do we know why? The answer is no. There's been zero communication. I've even heard that this was the case last season, but nobody bothered to tell me, Custa, or anybody else using the replay viewer for analysis. Blizzard has been totally silent, refused to tell me or tell anybody why this is the case. Not even a, hey, there's something legal going behind the scenes, we can't do it. They've presided one of the coolest things in the entire pro scene in esports, then completely took it away for no reason, gave no excuse, no reasoning, no update as when it's to be back. Screw you, Blizzard, on not only this decision, but the lack of communication. If you have a good reason for it, tell the population. You're actively shooting yourself in the foot by not allowing people like myself to publicize your content. I would love to do a lit POV review. So watching Custa, pathetic stream from Custa yesterday, trying to review Jimmy without even Jimmy's POV, watching the kill feed to see how Jimmy played. It's a joke. Shame on you.
Full time.
No communication at all. Terrible leadership. And just tell me. Just tell me. Okay? That's being said, let's move on.
Yeah, like, it's pretty good.
Oh no, Twilight's full time, guy. Oh, that sucks, man.
No, not this season. Not this season, no.
Way, one of the best.
Okay, so let's talk about matchup here. So a lot of comp teams are running Brawl here. Now, the way I define Brawl is just short range composition. That's pretty much all it is with the tank. It could be Ryan, it could be Ran with a Lucio. It doesn't really matter. Now, a lot of teams are running the Ramatra just because their tanks are more comfortable in the Ramatra, and also that the Ramatra provides a little bit more flexibility in case some team wanted to whip out a dive. He has a little bit more range poke, and he's actually a little bit more survivable than Ryan in a lot of ways. Now, the real difference here is the fact that teams are running Mei here because it's a short-range map, not a huge surprise, but the real difference is the sniper choice of the Sojourn allowing to take more aggressive off angles and probably have a better ultimate, even in this particular mirror. The Hanzo has the one-shot threat and more range pressure. That's pretty much all there is, ladies and gentlemen. Aspire is going to be able to take a little bit more aggressive angles and do a little bit more when he's got ultimate or when he's got railgun. The Hanzo is just a more consistent threat as a whole. Okay, both teams rolling on high. It looks like Boston has like a set rollout that they like to do.
One of the best armors in the world, if not the best.
You can see the fight.
There's an early wall here.
No way, one of the best in the world.
I'm gonna turn this down just a tad so the pausing doesn't get so disruptive. Smurf is able to shield a little bit later. Now, the important thing to note here is that I don't think... So Vancouver TPs as well, but somehow Batiste...
Full time, guy. Oh, that sucks, man. No way. One of the best.
Crimzo kind of chickens out because Li Gong starts to spam him early, as does Decay. And this is crucial because as soon as this happens on our screen right now, unless Vancouver does something crazy and hits a shot, Boston loses this trade, or wins this trade. Because now you have heal support better than Crimzo's LOS. You have Li Gong on a better off angle, able to control the backline a little bit. But more importantly, you have the Batiste actually putting damage pressure out, and his Batiste is not. Even if Punk backs up a little bit here and gets healed, this is going to be doing more damage. And even though the Hanzo is going to be lagging behind, I think that should be enough to compensate. Let's actually see. Might be wrong here.
You can see
Wall is pretty good-ish. The enemy wall is actually better.
what's going on here.
Now, this is funny. I predict this. But then Decay, honestly, should already have walled here to wall off the Mei and put pressure on Punk. But he doesn't wall fast enough. And then he also does the vertical wall, which Sugar Free just leapfrogs over. Counter wall. Now we have the three people who got there fast, or at least one of the members got there fast, completely MIA. And now Smurf is split. So I caster curse the Boston here. The Boston, I say. And that's going to lead to Decay dying. Now you're like, well, how does that lead to Decay dying? Because look at where Decay has to rotate to get around the wall. Could you argue that Decay should go to the opposite side? Yes, but easier said than done. There might not even be much of a gap there. I honestly can't see. So better wall from Sugar Free, and then that's going to lead to a kill. So this is why we have to take things relatively slowly, because two boops, okay, one boop, is set up by a better wall. The K is too slow. I honestly don't know which hit scan I like better. Not the players, but the pick. I honestly don't know. I think Hanzo's better in the raw mirror, but in a Koth map with this amount of movement and rotation, the Sojourn is going to be really nice. So Vancouver wins the neutral, very important. What you'll probably see here is you'll see a push, you'll see a wall, and then what I expect is potentially Birdring to wrap around behind. But because he's on Hanzo, what might be more likely is that Birdring walks over the wall and shoots. I mean, this is a huge, huge choke to spam through. So, yeah. Sojourn's playing on the back stairs. There's the wall. There's the shield. There's the spam. Now, you're not going to see a crazy hard committal, but theoretically, getting the wall advantage here does allow you to force a couple of cooldowns out.
Both vortexes coming out too. Punk has to get lapped here.
Curious to see what happens here.
So good wall goes down, just trying to get
it actually looks like here that the Boston may have gotten the better wall this time, because I think the wall behind Punk, thanks for the sub, Justin, thank you for the gift of the sub, is cutting off Aspire's ability to do damage, and that's probably why. It might be that it also looks like he blocked too soon, or too late here too. So he greets a few punches here. So right here, he needs to have already be blocking. Smurf, do you notice, through the hiding of his own wall, is able to actually get in damage without getting shot by Aspire or Sugar Free. So now Decay has the better wall. That allows Smurf to not block, and then Punk blocks also too late. That's the other thing too. So that's going to force Lamp, that's going to force them out. Li Gong is low. They get the angle on the Hanzo. That's a shift force early, and that's gonna win them the neutral. So honestly, really just a wall trade here, and also Aspire's angle is not particularly good. I don't know what happens to Sugar Free. I don't know what happens to Sugar Free. Sugar Free should have had Ice Block here. There's no reason for Sugar Free to not have Ice Block. I'm not sure what happened. He might have gotten forced by a Hanzo shot. Maybe he just gets burst there. I'm not sure. Aspire's angle is almost meaningless that fight because of the wall and the rotation. And a much better Maywall with Decay. I don't want to overanalyze these, but we do know this is going to be a faster match, so we can take a little bit more time. It's only 3 maps. I know at least 2 of the maps are fast. So, yeah. Good neutral. Reform, thank you for the sub, mate. I appreciate it, Justin.
Boston this year. It's just
So then,
before, but like the name value, but
the funny thing about this matchup, guys, is May is still quite good, but even just from the first fight, like even past the first fight, like once you get through a choke, I don't think a May wall advantage is as big of a deal in this composition as it has been in the past, right? You have the Batiste to go over, you have the Sojourner Hanzo that can go over or around, right? And then the Ramattra, when you walk through, he's just going to put down his shield. And most of the times, I hate to analyze this, but I want to point this out. I think this is really important. Getting a wall advantage might not be so much as isolating the Ramattra fast enough, so much as giving your Ramattra, cutting off one of their DPS's LOS. So like right now, you haven't really cut off Birdwing's LOS, right? He's still spamming through this choke on Punk. But do you notice that neither of the shields broke? They just expired. Do you see this? So the shields expire. It doesn't even break. So both Ramattras walking through a choke are just going to pop shield anyway. But the difference between this wall and this wall is this wall no longer gets value because Birdwing has gone around it. This wall continues to get value from Smurf because he's able to continue to use it to block off damage as the fight goes on. It definitely adds a little bit more nuance as to how walls are being used instead of just AFK split somebody, at least in this particular matchup. Shooting Ram Shield is useless, usually useless, yes. So that is a pretty big factor. So what I look at this from Punk's perspective, all right, if you want to overanalyze this a little bit, is does Punk need to shield right now? Could Punk not have said, we've walled off Birdwing right now? Can I ego this, spam their shield or 80-80 strafe? Honestly, not even do damage at all. Just focus fully on 80-80 strafing and shield second once that wall is broken down. You guys see what I'm saying? Could we have not have focused on movement a little bit here? Because he's getting shot behind the thing into shield anyway from the Hanzo, right? So I feel like Defender's advantage might mean that you don't have to shield as fast, and that's where the advantages come out. It doesn't feel necessary to shield there. I think if you get a good initial wall there, so something to consider. So this is cute. You're gonna have an off-angle BAP window, and then an off-angle push from here. Now, the problem with this is, again, what Varashi was saying, is that Ram Shield is really strong, at least for that burst of value, right? It is a very strong shield. So the unfortunate thing is that Twilight's window here is going to get completely shut down, and then he's going to be missing damage and heal opportunity with his team from this angle here. I don't think Twilight's going to be able to break this shield fast enough for this to actually matter. Does Hanzo get more value in the Brawl comp compared to Sojourn? I think it depends. I think usually the answer on most maps is yes. But is that going to matter? No, it's not. It's not going to matter. In fact, Boston starts to push, but I don't think Boston should push here. They've actually walked into the choke, and instead of them having, like, okay, so here's the choke here, and then here's the choke here, and then Vancouver's over here, right? Twilight they want to crossfire, but then because this off angle gets completely shut down, right? Then as Vancouver or Boston starts to walk through the choke, it's actually they who are getting crossfired. You guys see this? I don't like this push from Boston at all. I think obviously the window was too easy to shut down. That's the number one problem. But the number two problem is that also you're giving up map control to push into getting crossfired in multiple different angles. I think it's a stupid push. Exactly, Nodland. And that only works if you have a cut or an off angle of your own. But obviously they don't, as we saw. I mean, look, the shield's still not broken, right? And not only that, but you also don't have a reasonable cooldown advantage to push off of. This is an easy fight one for Vancouver. Poor execution from Boston here. Now, I will say, do you guys remember who did Boston play? Was it New York on Lijiang Tower Control Center? Am I remembering correctly? And they looked really pretty bad. It might be that this is not a comfort composition for Boston. And this is obviously a problem on this point, because this is really the best composition to play on this map, I think.
The walls there is crazy because you wall off the tank, but then the disruptor shot from Aspire, it doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. You can walk out of it.
Okay, so ults are now online, and usually in this composition, like most compositions, once ults come online, the ults generally predominantly affect how you take neutral rather than just the raw neutral itself. So in other words, this fight here, there's no BAP window for either team, so what we might see is the defender team is going to be focusing very much so on landing up. But really, the most important ultimate is the Blizzard. And to a lesser extent the Ramatra ult, because it is what allows you to win the close range wars just 100%. And so if Vancouver decides to play around to kite the Blizzard ultimate or play around the Blizzard ultimate, that's really the defining factor right there. Bram Brawlplay makes Hanzo Soldier more even with temporary shield. True. So let's see. It's all going to come down to the Mei ults here. Now, what's interesting is Vancouver doesn't play fair here. They go, you know what? We've got Mei ults here, but we also have off-angle control. Let's do this. Now, this is pod racing. No, this is better because look at the timing of the flank push from Aspire here. Do you guys see this? So not only does Aspire have ultimate here, like treat this like a BAP window, right? But why does this ult from Aspire not get shut down? Because there's a very similar play, at least in execution or an idea, was shut down here, right? So what's the difference? Can you guys tell me?
It's just, I mentioned before, but like the name value, but the historical value.
Other unit came out first, right? There's a reason why Anima's a coach, right? The BAP window opened. Their attention's here, then they turn the attention over here. That's the improper order. You always want the more lethal threat to be second, and this is why. Watch. 3, 2, 1. Do you notice the tank is already committed, even with shield? Right here, do you see this? So where do you think Boston are looking right now? On the push here. And so they get distracted, Smurf commits his shield, right? And then Aspire comes late. And so I expect this to work. I expect this to work. Twilight doesn't even, why does this not get shield? Because he went second. Because he peaked second. And theoretically, that should have worked. That should have worked. That should have worked. It's a good play by Vancouver. Now, obviously, it does open them up to Blizzard, so I assume that's what Decay does. Decay does Blizzard. We'll see a beat from Faith. An early Blizzard. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, about Blizzard. Blizzard is very survivable if you can force their hand early. So even though Vancouver doesn't quite get what they want here, forcing Decay to pop Blizzard early is nice, because if you can get him to force it early, your Ramatra will still have his block, you still will have Lamp, you'll have enough HP and be able to get out of it, and more importantly, your mate will have Ice Block. So you look at this and you're like, oh shoot, that's a lot of people going to get frozen, right? No, it's actually just the Ramatra, and he even walks out of it, right, immediately afterwards, right? Sugar Free just Ice Blocks. So this is still promising from Vancouver. The big thing for me is this Dragon going to get value? Are we going to be able to get enough continued pressure with the Sojourn ult? Because we should still be hitting shots here, right? There's the beat. There's a Dragon. Oh my days, that is terrifying. Sugar Free's holding on to his Blizzard here. And so a lot of ults were traded, but the crucial things to note is that you've traded everything but this for this. And you guys ready for the funny thing? This is better than this. Excuse me, this is better than this, at least in this mirror. Most of the time. Most of the time. So it might be that Sugar Free is just going to look for the perfect opportunity. There it is. Oh no, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I'm not sure what is Sugar Free see. Does he? So he doesn't get it deep enough. See, Smurf pops his Nemesis form, which means that he can, with speed boost, get out of this pretty quickly. And Decay, I think he pops it too early on Decay. They do get the freeze on Li Gong, though, who's trying to bail Smurf out, so that's huge. Oh, that's a huge shot by Bird Ring. I'm not sure why Aspire pushes here. Yeah, Aspire should not have pushed. Aspire presses the, does the platinum, The Plat Magnet, right? Gets his headshot blown off. But yeah, they only get the Mei with it, or they only get the Lucio with it. That's not good enough. You needed at least Mei or Ramattra, preferably both. So that's unfortunate from Sugar Free. That's honestly a pretty reasonable fight plan from Vancouver, considering the amount of ultimates that they had. The chain of ultimates there was good, but the execution at the end just missed. Did Lenny not have wall? I assume no, he didn't. He didn't. Because you're going to see it right here on their spawn. I'm not sure what it was used for. Maybe to cut off a disengage, but yeah, obviously having the wall there was definitely needed to be the player. So mistake from Sugar Free.
Should send them through this fight. However, with Legion and Aspire dead, and now with Annihilation.
Yep, I do think I agree with you. The Aspire holding that angle and not getting headshot by Hanzo was also a big deal there too. So bit of a goof up from both of the DPS from Vancouver.
Really turning that fight around for the Boston Uprising.
Also, Aspire should have at least forced Lamp. I don't even know if he forced Lamp with that ultimate on the flank. I'll have to look again, but either way, there was so many kill opportunities there. Okay, so back window.
Why he is considered one of the better hit scans in the history of the Overwatch League.
There's the back window. I think they just baited it, to be honest. They back window on the ram on the main choke, but it's not a good back window. It's very disengageable. Back window is a very hard ultimate to use. I think it is very consistently disengageable. Oh, Aspire goes in.
Screaming for it. All good.
He gets Sonic though. Got Sonic, I say. Yeah.
All good.
Notice, by the way, Li Jaegong's positioning. Boston doesn't want to push here. They have no real reason to push. So even, you guys notice this, even in Brawl, like, okay, let me put it this way. How many times do you guys play like Ryan or Ram Rush, and then you get in a mirror, and you're thinking, my Lucio needs to be playing with me 24/7 as a tank, right? Right? But look at where Li Jaegong is. He's on the flank with his DPS, right? You know what I'm saying? If you're not planning on pushing or kiting anything, and you're not because there's no real ultimates to push with here, you need your Lucio to control angles, to control your DPS on the flank. Because Li Jaegong being here means that Faith can't push with Aspire, and also that any poke damage that Bird Ring takes, the Li Jaegong can heal it right back up again, right? Definitely counterintuitive to how you guys think Lucio's been playing, but if you're not moving, control space.
Shots, I should say. A lot of storm arrows landing.
Love the angle from Bird Ring here. This should be a fight win, assuming he doesn't overextend. Where did Li Jaegong go?
A lot of storm arrows landing, and Crimzo is on the
no! Li Jaegong! My man, Lee, come back! Come back! No! No! Come back, where'd he go? Why did he leave? There goes my hero. No, no. My man. Something was called here, like push, right? But then they run it down mid. Li Jaegong just straight up pieces, and poor Bird Ring gets just literally deleted by the Hanzo. That's so bad. Come on, guys. Come on, man. They still might win here. Yeah, they're gonna win, but that trade is so unnecessary. Oh, now Li Jaegong dies. See, this is the bad thing. You cannot have messy fights like this because of respawn advantage, right? The respawns are closer. Ah, that's so unfortunate. Li Jaegong. Yeah, exactly. But we're back, and Li Jaegong is back on the flank. Okay, so here we go. Last fight. Hustle, 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 hustle. Quick freeze on Punk with a wall, probably.
It's kind of free this fight. Blizzard.
Oh, okay. Punk messes up, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Punk could have dodged this. If Punk had just pressed the W key and run, I think he could have actually gotten out of this Blizzard. I think he tries to run back through wall, but I think that's a mistake. The big thing here is just these numbers are really ugly. 85, 70, 75, 73, 83. Could not be worse for Vancouver. Like, it literally could not be worse. Meanwhile, check, right? And that's it. That's it. It's just too unfortunate, you know? So by the time, I mean, unless Vancouver stalls us out, but even then you don't have your, these are great shots by Bird Ring. Even these body shots are like really nice, you know? That's just gonna be it. That should be it, yeah. That's such a shame. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 close to ults. Yikes, I say. Unfortunate mistakes from the DPS of Vancouver. I think a couple of mistakes with that big ult fight were a big problem. I think Punk, Sugar Free dying with Ice Block, Sugar Free messing up his Mei ult, I think Punk made a couple of questionable. I'm wondering about the shield on first fight. And then really, the big thing is that Birdring is just able to take this angle here and is able to get away with it for free. I want to look at this fight again. Was there anything that Vancouver could have done here better? No, that's the wrong fight. I'm getting confused. It all looks the same. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more resource in controlling this high ground here, at least to clear it out. I don't think Boston will push through this choke to punish Vancouver for putting resources up here. So even like a bat pocket, maybe even a May wall here, maybe a May wall on main, and then like rushing to go like here while your Lucio marks the top. Maybe it's worth trying. I haven't scrimmed this map enough, but it feels corny that just Birdring on a flank just straight up wins the fight. But then a couple of those mistakes add up. They end up getting the old economy trade, and unfortunate.
We've seen a lot of teams playing this.
You all see the Doom versus Beams bug? I have not. And then obviously both DPS made mistakes here. Great shots by Birdring though. Guy's cracked. Okay, so let's talk about this matchup. Basically, just think of it as the same composition, the exact same composition. But the difference is that number one, you have a DPS that is a little bit more fragile. Actually, no, not more fragile than the Hanzo, but is a little bit more dynamic in the ranges that they can play, right? The big difference between Ashe and Hanzo is just that you have a slightly better ultimate and a slightly more consistent range pressure. They both, I mean, Hanzo has slightly better longer ranges, but both can really function fine. Bye. Drive safe. But there's not a huge difference here. One thing that the Ashe does provide is like you can actually, like, the dynamite for winning ground on top is really, really powerful, and Bob is better. But the differences between Ashe and Hanzo and this particular cost circumstance are slight. Ashe also technically has probably a slightly faster rollout. Well, actually, I'm not so sure about that. With a lunge, you probably get at least 3 lunges. Anyway, Genji though is the unique one. So Genji says, we're not going to win necessarily this immediate rollout on top because we're not going to have Maywall on this choke, but we don't need to. What we'll probably see is Boston will roll out here. They're going to chill like here, set up their Ashe off angling from probably here with the Ram Lucio here. Lucio can roll out from here and attack the top. At the same time, Genji can kind of off angle from underneath point any of these 3 angles and then look to contest the angle here. So if you think about who's actually getting Maywalled here, the answer is not many people, maybe not even anybody, right? Because if you just Maywall the Ramattra when they do push out of the choke, right, you're still going to have the Ashe off angle, you're still going to have the Genji off angle, you're still going to have the Lucio off angle, and if your BAP, well, even your BAP might be able to break through the wall quickly or just off angle from point side. So the Genji just finds ways, if we're not going to play Mei here, we're going to play a hero that has better high ground accessibility, has an ultimate that's still reasonably decent in the Brawl Mirror, and contests high ground from an angle without actually contesting. And it's also probably a hero strength there. Decay's Mei hasn't looked as good from the couple of matches that I've seen him on. But yeah, what does the fight win for Boston look like with this comp? Well, there you go. For Vancouver, it's going to be about winning the initial trade, getting high ground control, and then really you want to have as much pressure on these guys over here as possible. So for Mei, it might not be a Mei wall here. It might actually be a Mei wall on the Ashe and then focus on the Genji with your Mei. In terms of Aspire's positioning, I think playing top is pretty reasonable, but you also might have Aspire playing more along here, trying to off angle. But the difference is that Aspire playing here versus an Ashe playing here, AS. The Ashe is a little bit more of a threat until the Sojourn has rail. So I would be surprised if we saw Boston hard brute high ground like this. This is a little bit of a surprise to me. Yeah, I'm a little surprised at that. Now, I will say that they're playing for it. The Sojourn gets there a lot faster. Decay gets there very fast as well. And you notice that Decay is off-angling to try and bypass the BAP. I'm still just not so sure that this is the best play because you are going to be missing your Baptiste. You see Lee J going for the boop. But Aspire taking him out for that aggression.
Really nice. We talked about how Sojourn...
I don't have an opinion. I am unsure. I'm unsure. Because Boston, I specifically said that Boston would not fight for the high ground. And that's exactly what they did do. Because they tried to get Decay set up quickly. But I'm not sure that it was the right play. Now I will point out one cute little play. Look at Li Jae Gong. Check it out. He gets there first, and he actually boops off Sugar Free and Crimzo off of the high ground. The problem is that he also dies for it. So was it worth it? No. Now but it's a reasonable play. And I think if Lee Jae Gong plays that one better, there's a chance that he doesn't drop. So I don't know, but like the Genji looks reasonable enough. The Genji Lucio, the way that Boston was playing it was reasonable. It just didn't work. They just didn't do it well.
When you do shoot Ram, he's want to go in for the Nemesis form. It's just easy, 100% energy. Headshot someone from across the map.
Spire should be okay though. Off angle from Birdwing on high, catches Faith. Good shot.
I lied through my teeth there.
We'll probably see a slide on the top. Well, they're not even going to.
We saw Lee Jae Gon go down, and I thought that was going to be the end of the fight, but the Uprising did manage to get the first.
Nice shot.
But Aspire is just picking them apart one by one.
There's a lot of mechanics here, but the first thing was the first fight. Very interesting that Boston has a brief glimmer of an opportunity to win because they get the rollout. They even get the boot, but Lee Jae Gong dies for it. Not optimal. Does not provoke happiness or whatever that meme thing is. Whatever you hit kids say. Batiste window, probably see from top.
They're gonna need to step up if they're gonna match this.
They bap. Okay, so this is interesting. Vancouver decides to wall early. Now I kind of like this because we've already seen that the wall here is pretty easily bypassable by the rest of the enemy team. But if you wall early and if everybody's ready, you can actually force a lot of cooldowns here. And you notice that I think 1, 2, 3 members of Boston are walled off here. You could force at least a deflect and dash here, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. And now Lee Jae Gong's caught. Lee Jae Gong should die. Oh, there's Lamp.
The rest of the team do end up joining it as Crimzo keeping it locked down on the high ground. No chance to push here for the Boston.
Unfortunate.
Against the window. Good angle for it too. Cover everything pretty much.
Sees both sides. Very smart one, but here's the re-engage.
But yeah, essentially what Vancouver's doing is they're not giving Boston the angles that they can actually want to leverage their Genji and Ashe, right? They're not letting them push out to here so they can off-angle from here or even from main. They're saying, no, you're all stuck in this room and we're going to keep you in this room. We're not going to give you any space whatsoever. I think it's probably a very reasonable play, especially given the matchup. Genji's in. What happens here? Bap window creates space. Bap on top. They dash with the Bap window onto high. Again, an advantage of the Genji. He can just go in. Bap Sojourn gets split. That's the key thing. And they kite in different directions. Boston is able to kite in the same direction off of the Vancouver's window, which to be fair wasn't particularly hard to. And Vancouver splits in their kite. Cheers. I'm glad you enjoyed the video.
Surely, yes. Yeah, there you go. Lee Jae Gong's going to help him out. 50% though.
It's a hero strength thing with the Genji. It's a hero strength thing, and it's also a very, very map point specific thing. This is by far the best Genji point in the entire, all of Oasis. You probably don't think you'd see him elsewhere.
Going to switch over to the Ana, maybe wanting to get some of those biotic grenades to stop that healing coming down on.
The Ana is specific. Okay, so you guys tell me what the Ana's for. You guys tell me. Tell me what the Ana's for. Why? First off, tell me why you play Batiste, right? Because if you ask yourself, why is so-and-so swap being made? Ask yourself why you played the first hero in the first place, right? And if you can answer that question, then you can answer the next question. So think about it. Punish Decay for diving with anti and sleep. Yep, so it has more anti-dive options. But what about the Batiste? Why do you play the Batiste? Bap to help against Mei, right? You have Lamp for Mei Wall. You have Lamp for Mei Ult. You have better damage to break Mei Wall. You have more consistent healing to heal your tank because Mei is generally more tank focused, not just with her freeze, but also with her right clicks. It's easier to land, right? So when they're not playing Mei, then why are you the BAP? Your Ramatra's under, like if you notice that Punk has really not been under as much pressure. It's mostly been the backline and the DPS. So then the Batiste can definitely help with those, but Batiste is not significantly better than Ana at that. Ana does about the same amount of healing per second, maybe even a little bit more. And Lamp is kind of inconsistent. Even your shift doesn't help people when they're getting dove on and off angles. So Baptiste can keep himself alive better than Ana can versus divers, but he can't necessarily help your off angles more. And also, it's not just about keeping yourself alive, as you guys said. The nade in the sleep is I keep myself alive and I might kill you. Yeah. So I think is it the best choice here? I'm not sure, but there's a logic behind it.
On to Smurf, if he tries to play aggressive, maybe the sleep on Decay's blade.
We'll see. Decay on the high ground.
See, we're not really playing a brawl versus brawl matchup. This is starting to devolve, right? Now this is interesting. Again, Vancouver's going to open with Sojourn ult. That's going to create space and opportunities. There's the Bob. I like the Bob counter. It's kind of a spam ult for a spam ult. We're just kind of playing for space, trading back and forth. So you see that ults for ults, right? Boston does not want to push too hard.
Very much respecting Aspire's proficiency on the Sojourn. Now the blade.
There's the ult. Now they must have seen something. Lenny must have seen a wall opportunity, and I think he did. So he's gonna freeze Smurf. Oh.
Respecting Aspire's proficiency on the Sojourn. Now the blade for Decay. He's in the front line.
Oh, that is a huge mistake. Now he's not going to die. I would be shocked if he dies. But remember, the freeze is downtime. You know what I'm saying? It's no damage, right? There's no pressure. So really, Vancouver should be under a lot more pressure than they are right now. But both Ramattra and Genji are frozen. Right? And then now, he doesn't even have dash. And then now, oh boy. He might even die to the ultimate here. That's a disaster. And the other thing too is that, as you guys saw with the Ana value, with no Mei ult, it's a lot. The other thing with the Mei as well is it's hard to get nade sleep value on the enemy ram when you just get Mei walled off, right? Remember, the Mei value dips because of Baptiste, right? But when there is no Mei, the nade and sleep opens wide open. You guys remember when we were watching the Mayhem versus... Was it Glads? I think it was Glads. Yeah, on Lijiang Tower, or yeah, and they kept trying to force the Ana, but the Mei wall is still getting in the way. But there's no Mei wall anymore, is there? So this could go either way, which is really impressive because this is a pretty hard point to retake. Oh, not the play, not the play. They also nano the ram? Why do they nano the ram? I don't like the nano from Crimzo. I think the nano should have been used to either save somebody's life or just used mid-fight. I don't like nanoing the Ramattra who's already shooting targets and is basically full HP. I think that's a poor use of nano from Crimzo. It does nothing. And even without the hindsight, it's still the prediction that it would do anything is just not optimal. They get the early flip and they're going to get the stagger on Twilight. That's really, really, really good. That's like a free 10 seconds. Oh, where are you, Crimson? Oh, no way! No way!
Should be able to close it.
Where is Crimzo?
Still on this high ground, getting picked.
Crimmy!
Trying to take down Punk, who was full HP on the point.
Still on this.
Is he getting zoned by Ashe? I think he's 1v1ing an Ashe. Did you guys just see that sleep dart? Am I smoking something? I might be smoking something. I'm not smoking something. That's a sleep dart. I think they walled the Ashe on high ground. And yeah, they walled the Ashe on the little window, y'all. Oh, dude, where's the replay viewer? Yeah, Birdring's here. Sugarfree walls the Ashe in. Crimzo throws a sleep dart, a shot, and then a nade here. Meanwhile, Punk is just in La La Land. Just, I'm gonna kill people, everybody! And gets no help as a result.
Still on this high ground getting picks though. They need to dislodge him.
That's crazy. So yeah, they nade him, and then meanwhile, Punk's like, let's go, guys! But Crimzo ain't there, ladies and gentlemen. Crimzo just now starts to peek. Birdring is still there. And he's also getting shot by Birdring. But you know what, actually, oh, this is so messy. It actually kind of works. Because it's staggering this fight. Like, obviously, trades are happening. Oh, no, that's bad. But it's staggering this fight out really messily. So, like Custa is saying right now, the percentage is ticking here. So,
Crimzo got such a quick nano there that was so instrumental on that team fight win for the team.
Okay, so big May ult here. Can we keep him up? Is he just gonna toss it? He is. Oh, that is so scary. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Way too risky. Way too risky. He just needs to hide. Especially for that at first initial burst of BAP window, you can't do this. You can't do this. He should have died for that. Yeah, that's just dumb. Come on, Sugar Free. The idea of the ult's fine, but you got to be a little bit patient about that at this level. You can't just go, oh, BAP window, throw it in there. No. That being said, really a disastrous stagger from Boston, and really an exceptional retake from Vancouver in terms of the May ult, catching the Genji, obviously. Really well done. So what killed Boston last time, which was the amount of ultimates traded and the just stupid extension, they end up winning it through the exact same thing.
Into him as he tries to dodge the bob out of the way, but Sugar Free with an incredibly clutch play on that May. He says, "You stay, I go." Walks into danger.
What do I use to write my screen? Epic Pen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now Boston. This is interesting here. I don't think either team is expecting them to roll out on Winston. So some of you guys may have seen me go, oh, you know, Ramatra or Junker Queen's a Winston counter. I don't think either team is expecting the other team to roll out Winston. I don't think. So what my expectation is that the Junker Queen meta here is because neither team wants to play Winston, or at least Boston doesn't want to, or Vancouver doesn't want to. But they like the Queen better on Koth for either faster rollout, or because they like the Queen better versus flankers. Now, the Ramatra in the Florida Mayhem anti-dive was specifically just to survive. But the Queen, when you play it in the mirror, like let's say you're playing versus like dive DPS, like I imagine both teams will probably play Tracer here, isn't just to survive. She's meant to kill Tracer. You're meant to shoot, knife, and anti-shout, whatever, push Tracer. So Queen operates very similarly as a dive tank, but is a dive tank for non-dive tank players. Now, Smurf is not exactly a non-Winston player here. So what this may be is that Boston doesn't want to play Winston into the Junker Queen that they know Vancouver are going to play into, so they'd rather just mirror. Kind of an interesting dynamic here. I'm more surprised at Boston playing the Queen than anything, but it might be that they just predict that Vancouver is going to play, so that they just don't want to play Winston to the Queen on this particular map. Interesting. It might also be that with this composition, because they want to lean more into the hit scan, they don't want as resource heavy of a tank, so they can put more resources into Bird Ring, so they go for the lighter resource tank, which is going to be Queen. Why wouldn't Boston play Ram here? Because I don't think Ram is that good versus what you're trying to do here. Ramatra is good in the anti-dive if you're playing to poke out and pre-pressure out, but I imagine this is going to be more dynamic and more shoot focused, right? Where the Ramatra is, you don't want a tank that can just survive. You want a tank that can actually push and clear stuff out, right? The way Florida were playing things is someone was playing aggressively here, but I also don't think when someone was being focused, he was able to survive really well. Junker Queen is like a little bit more dynamic than that. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a very confident read over this. I don't feel like I have a very confident read over this. My gut says Ramatra would feel bad here with the King of the Hill and the rotations demanded, but I can't exactly put my finger on why.
Seen Dragon Blade kills at this point. So
both teams rotating out here. Obviously, I think Vancouver is going to win this one just because I think having your Sojourn actually here is a big deal.
Valuable character like the Tracer.
Yeah, the neutral damage.
They catch Genji, but Genji's out. Now, this is a huge kill from Twilight, though. Where's Twilight? Twilight's on the flank, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I talked about with resource light tank, right? Do you see this? Kiriko on the flank. Queen is not immediately 1 HP. And then the flank headshot in Crimzo.
Oh, Twilight.
And that's it.
Pick onto Crimzo.
Still going in the back line.
He do be killing people. Yeah, wait, he's just... Oh, wait a second. Twilight's on the other team at that point. Like, he's just in the back line permanently. Wow.
There's so many nice angles for Ramen team is playing more.
Yeah.
Right.
Imagine if there was a...
Okay.
Like
Genji swap.
He just hey.
Genji is because that it might be that Tracer feels harder into this composition, where Shout can just deny your ability to like actually assassinate people, and that Genji just provides more value. Like basically the reason why people were playing Genji back in the day was because Tracer wasn't super strong. So I still think that Tracer could be fine into this composition, but Sugar Free is really good on Genji, and it might be that he just prefers Genji here. I think Genji or Tracer is fine here. I will say one thing that makes the Genji a little bit extra attractive is the fact that they're on Ashe, and while Tracer is very good versus hit scans, the high ground in this map is going to make the hit scan harder to access, and Genji can easier access the hit scans on high ground. So the reason why I'm breaking this down is I guarantee you Sugar Free in the moment wasn't thinking about all these details, but these are the details that were subconsciously going on that makes him feel like Genji's the play here, right?
Don't give the developers ideas, Jack. We do not need a spy in the...
Yeah, pretty much, Jonna.
Look, it would be kind of funny.
It would be funny, though. We've actually seen Kiriko's taking a lot of liberty and just playing aggressive, going into the backline, because you can find those picks. If you can hit those kunais, you can execute 200 HP targets quite quickly, and Twilight coming in clutch for that first team fight.
So it's interesting to me that Birdring isn't playing high. I would have expected Birdring to at least start high. It's weird to me that I see, I think is that Decay? Who is that? Yeah, it's Decay. So I would have at least expected Birdring to stay here and then force either the Genji to sneak up here and then rotate away, or the entire enemy team to rotate away. But maybe they think that's too easy, and maybe just playing a longer angle from on the ground is better. Because this is, you're not going to be able to stay here as Ashe. It's too easy to clear with a Kiriko, Genji, and Lucio. So that's probably why.
Because you can find those picks if you...
on a less high ground intensive map, would a hero like Mei or Reaper be played over Genji? Depends on the map. A broad map, probably Tracer. A less broad map, you might still see Genji, because the problem with Mei and Reapers are too slow. They're not poke centric enough, right? Like your ultimate would be too easy to boop. Your ultimate would be too easy to speed out of. There's too many heroes that have too much mobility for a Mei or Reaper. Even Queen has her own speed, right?
You can hit those kunais. You can execute.
No, I think like even if you guys go back to the meta from Stage 3 last season, you need something more fast.
Even just like neutral headshots. Oh, nice Suzu. Good Suzu. TP onto height. I think someone was jumping down from high ground there. Just
now this is, look at what Vancouver's doing. They see Ashe, they shout on Ashe. There's the Suzu.
Oh, nice Suzu. Good.
Birdrings actually leaves, or Twilight leaves. You see, this is the problem with the Ashe, is it's like, if you get shouted on, where do you go? Now, I think that's more of a philosophical question, because okay, I know the answer. He should have kited out, trusted his Kiriko, and coach gun back to high ground. And if he had done that, I think Boston wins this fight. But Vancouver goes, let's rotate and just run down the Ashe. I don't even think Vancouver does a very good job of it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is a forced rotation. A better team is able to kite this significantly better. Birdring just doesn't coach gun out. I don't know where he goes. If he could have gone back to high, like up to top here, just kited out and then coach gun back up top here, I think Vancouver's in serious trouble here. Because it not only does his poor kite cost his life, it also baits Lige Garna to try to help him. They should have just sold Birdring, honestly. If he messes up, let him go. Like, do what Twilight did. Oh, this guy's an idiot. Let him go. Let him die. You guys saw that with Florida Mayhem a lot, where Florida would have their Batiste a million miles away. And if you were willing to pop all your ultimates and all of your cooldowns to go down and kill the Batiste, they would let you kill Rapal. They wouldn't try to peel from him. They'd just let him die, and they'd kill you. They'd kill you. Because at some point you can't peel people. You can't throw more bodies on the pyre. You know, there's only so much you can do. So you just let the target die, and then oh my gosh, and then do something else as a result. The shout seemed early. Yeah, I just think it was. I think it was a kind of not a very well executed push by Vancouver, honestly. Really weird Kiriko ultimate from Twilight. They shout early. They ult early. Now they might catch Punk through the severity of this, but I don't know. This seems very messy from Boston here. Very messy. I think this is gonna work just because the glut of what they threw in, but man, not again. You're gonna see, I think, what I would describe as mistakes from both teams go unpunished. But I'm still going to call them out mistakes. Not because, oh, if they'd done this, they wouldn't have won the fight. It doesn't matter. They won the fight anyway. But I want to highlight things that are not very smooth that a better team is going to execute on. A better team is going to punish Boston for using both shout and ult like that. A better team is going to give up more space here, and Punk's not going to die. Punk's not going to die. A better tank, or not just a better tank, a better team will not let their tank die. He'll get out. And then stall with their Genji, and then re-engage with their ultimate.
Not getting chucked down damage anymore. As the Kitsune rush for both teams, in fact. But Punk actually gets,
you know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to call out when I see it. I'm going to call out when I see it.
Up against a Bob currently. I mean, with the Rampage online for Smurf soon, this looks very holdable for the Boston Uprising. They do end up finding the flip. I mean,
Crimzo also used his ultimate there, an attempt to save Punk. That's a pretty rough one.
Vancouver Titans just so close to getting so many of their
and now it could really go either way. I think it's very important for Vancouver to not take a fight until they get their beat. So what I want from Vancouver is I want them to be very careful about the Ashe, of course, but to try and bait Boston, to try and clear off angles, to try and take a greedy, aggressive angle, try to bait Boston to push into you so that you'll be able to have time to build up your beat. Like, Vancouver needs about 10 seconds before a fight actually happens here. And I want to see some rotation when the fight actually starts to get the Genji on high. And I imagine that's going to be the case. Even with Lee Jae gone here, I don't think Bird Ring should be allowed to stay here. And by the way, this is the positioning that I was wanting Bird Ring to stay on initially. Where's my Genji? There it is. There's the counter bob, there's the beat, there's the counter beat. Vancouver just needs to survive at this point. Oh, they're gonna blade as well. Wee! There's the counter blade, not catching anything. There's the Junker Queen ult. Now Vancouver just needs to get out. Out. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Will they punish? There's a great Suzu, and they might punish this. Oh, Boston should have gotten punished for that right there. That was an overextension. They should have gotten punished for that one. Nice kite from Vancouver. All right, here we go. Is Ashe going to take back top? She is. Shout. They miss the axe. That's pretty crucial. They go back and focus Genji. There's the Suzu. There's the kill on Lucio. That's a huge play from Vancouver. They use Kiriko ult as well, so it's a little bit of an expensive investment. But yeah, okay. But obviously last fight, so like, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Echo hard meta, maybe. I mean, it would definitely be different, you know. We haven't had an Echo meta in a long time, so Boston, Vancouver needs a plan for Kiriko. Vancouver needs a plan for Kiriko here. Remember, Vancouver though has better tools to kite things out because they don't have a fat kid. They have a Sojourn with a shift, right? They have somebody that can always rotate quicker.
Rush advantage for the Boston Uprising. Kitsune Rush on this point is pretty deadly. It's a pretty stallable point, but when you've got increased cooldowns, like, or decreased cooldowns.
So we'll probably see a walk forward, maybe Kiriko on point. There it is. Are they going to disengage? They're going to actually go in. Wow. Twilight gets murked. Even before he Suzu's here. Again, very audacious from Vancouver here. Now, the good news for Vancouver is that theoretically, if they could have survived this, Faith would have been able to beat on top of that at all. Why didn't they buff Hog and instead buff Queen? I'm being baited, right, chat? I know, body standards really have become unrealistic, man. If you're not like Zeus, then I guess you're just fat, you know? Remember, guys, negative reinforcement's the best way to build confidence, to take care of each other. Always tear each other down. That's the best way of doing things. Phenomenal play, though. Like, I mean, it's crazy from Vancouver. A bit of a misplay from Boston there, but that's crazy. All right, this is a pretty big fight for Boston to state the obvious here. But I think the big thing again is I cannot understate how important it is for this ultimate to be gotten before the fight actually happens. Let's see. I assume it will be.
It's all about the cycle.
But it's really important that you don't lose fights at 90% or 95%. So I imagine Boss is going to kind of take it slow, take some angles, see if they can bait a bad engage. But they really, really need that beat. There's the Bob. That's just to buy time. The Bob is good. They're going to use Sojourn ult. They're going to push Smurf. Will they get the beat? They will. Really nice little bit of movement there from Boston. Vancouver keeps their composure. That's going to be Sojourn ult for Bob. It's a fine trade. Smurf also has his ultimate though, and now Decay has his ultimate. But Crimzo also has his ultimate. Oh, it's an ultimate fest, ladies and gentlemen. Ashe on the angle. Will they be able to find a way to catch the Ashe? There's the shout. There's the blade. There's the beat. The stream just dies. Birdring kills Ashe, or Birdring kills Aspire. What happens? And Smurf uses ult as well, but only hits Punk. So, ladies and gentlemen, I assume it's Sugar Free. Something must happen with Sugar Free. Oh, Decay doesn't get beat. Oh, he does get beat. Never mind.
With the Spire dead, there's so much less damage, but Sugar Pea pulls a blade of his own, actually takes down Decay. He finds one.
Oh my goodness!
With the Spire dead, Decay receives a beat of his own, and now just carving through those overshields. With the Spire dead,
oh my goodness gracious. That's monstrous. So I'd have to take a really careful look at how cooldowns are being used there from Vancouver, but wow. Wow, what a play. What a play. Would buffing non-Sombra picks shift Sombra out of meta? Yes, yes. Sombra was one of the least bad DPS. I think there's a lot of DPS that aren't super strong right now, whether it's some of the hit scans, Sojourn, and so on. Soldier. Like, think about it this way, guys. How many metas have we had in Overwatch League where Sojourn wasn't meta? Go ahead, tell me. Since Overwatch 2. Right? Like one? Maybe? So when you remove Sojourn, that's why you're seeing Sombra, because there isn't anything else there. Like the dynamic of the game is changed a little bit, right? So some of the more static heroes don't feel as powerful because of the loss of the second tank. And then they've also gone and nerfed heroes like Ashe, right? You know, and Widowmaker's squishier, no, for better or worse, right? It's not exactly, they even nerfed Soldier, right? Like Soldier's not as strong as he used to be. Like Soldier was fairly strong, but like that's it. It's not like Sombra's OP. It's just there's just nothing else. There's just nothing else to replace that. And then Sombra did get some damage buffs. It's a small one, and then you have people like Lip playing Sombra, and then everybody and their mother thinks that, oh, I can play Sombra like Lip, but they can't, and so then they try to play the meta, and then they look like idiots. Meanwhile, Sigma males like Florida Mayhem are like, nah, we'll play what we want. You guys can, you jokers can play Sombra as long as you want. Oh, that's right, Cassidy as well, right? Cassidy, I mean, you saw Cassidy Tracer dive. You guys remember that? Come on, it was literally in the program. People were playing Cassidy Tracer dive, and then they nerfed Cassidy too. Now, again, I'm not saying that that was a bad decision. I'm just saying don't be surprised by Sombra. Okay, I like this comp for Vancouver. Whenever I see the Batiste, I'm always expecting him to be paired with a hit scan, because it kind of shifts your value away from Nano Boost and more towards like peeling and keeping your other off angle up. So I think this is a reasonable comp from Vancouver. Hanzo is just better when there's like more brawl stuff. So for Hanzo to be played, you would need Mei to be a little bit stronger, or you need Bap to be a little bit stronger, or you need Ryan to be a little bit stronger, or Ramatra to be a little bit stronger. And then you'd start to see more Hanzo. Because remember, guys, you can't develop a meta in a vacuum. It's always, for example, I have always felt that D.Va was a strong hero in Overwatch 2. And that was my hot take, right? I remember I made that tier list and people were like, what are you talking about? But I wasn't saying in a vacuum, I was saying holistically, D.Va is a strong hero. The problem with D.Va is that there was always a better tank for the meta. There always was a better tank for the meta. Right? And if you look at even this right here, would you describe Ashe as being a strong hero right now? Not really. She just coincides with these heroes pretty good. So then the real question is, who defines the meta here, right? Usually Tracer defines a lot of the things that are meta, but a lot of it also goes down to tanks and supports. The reason D.Va is being played here is because the range of the map encourages more ranged battles, right? And not Lucio comps and even Sombra Tracer comps. The hit scan feels a little bit more juicy. So then because of that range, heroes like Winston don't have as easy of a time staging, and heroes like Sombra are not as attractive for many teams compared to heroes like Hitscan. So then that trickles down to, then why would we need a Lucio then if we're running with a D.Va and an Ashe? Let's run it with a Brig who can pocket my Ashe or my other support easier than a Lucio can. That's why D.Va is being played. D.Va is being played because it's too open of a map. But it's not so open that you can run like a Sigma, because there are enough sight lines and cover and corners and high ground to where if you ran Sigma, they would just run Ball or Winston or something like that, and you'd get run over, right? Yeah. That's why when we saw APAC being played, you saw Brig Zen on this particular map, because APAC likes Brig Zen. And if you're going to play Brig Zen anywhere, it's going to be this map. The sight lines are very encouraging for it. What would happen if you nerfed Tracer then? I think if you nerfed Tracer, I think you'd probably see a Brawl meta. I think you'd see a Brawl meta. I think you'd see Ramattra Lucio comps. I think that's what you would see next. You'd see Ramattra Lucio comps, and I think on maps like Junkertown, you would probably see something more like Sniper plus Genji. I would imagine it'd be like Hanzo, Mei, Ramattra, Lucio, Batiste, and then on Sniper maps, probably more like Bap Tracer. No, not Bap Tracer, Bap Genji. Right, Rialto First is the exact same thing as Blizzard World First. Long sightlines, but enough high ground to justify the D.Va and not the Sigma. D.Va is, as a hero in her own, is fine. She's just never been favored by the meta. Why not like Hanzo, Widow, Sigma, and Junkertown? You could if they nerfed Tracer, to a little bit. But I think Genji's pretty strong in that point too. I think teams have also just gotten better at playing around Hanzo, Widow. I think Genji is a objectively not very strong DPS, but I also think that he has more dynamics than people understand. So yeah, it's just funny to complain as a Genji main, but I do think Genji is okay in those situations. Can you explain why Genji finds playing Owl instead of Tracer somewhat often? It's just the maps. It's just the maps. Junkertown first point has a lot of great high ground, and second point has a lot of great high ground at very important relevant points that allows for a lot of Genji threat. We just saw it on Oasis, this exact same map. That one map where there was good high ground, people want to play Genji there. Genji is better on high grounds than Tracer is. And Tracer has also received a slight damage nerf recently. Not recently, but at the last time that we saw Overwatch League. And in addition to that, it is also a specialty hero for many players in the Overwatch League. Alpha Yi, Sugar Free, Decay to an extent as well, so that those guys are still really quite good at Genji. How much do you think the Ana nerf affects the meta? I don't think it affects it by much. It's more annoying than anything. Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say Genji is strong. I still think that Genji is still relatively weak, but he fits a few niches really nicely. Just joined, did you answer what you think Winston's getting less playtime? I just think teams have just started to kind of figure out that copying the meta isn't always the best play. I was surprised to see as much Winston as we did, especially for teams that don't have a great Winston player. I think it's just teams have figured out that there are better tanks and better maps. A lot of teams get lazy and they just pick one comp on all the maps, but that's not always like what the best thing is to do. So Yeah. Okay, let's take a look here. So this mirror is very unsurprising to me. It's a poke meta with a peel / dive tank that can control the enemy divers, but because it's too open for Winston, these teams are going to play Diva. This also lines up very nicely with their hero strengths. Ashe, because Hanzo would be too greedy and would probably die too easily. Ashe is somewhere in the middle between good poke damage but doesn't die immediately, and she also has a good ultimate. The Brig is to peel off the Ashe and also help the Tracer at the same time, and because the map is more open, you don't need the speed boost as much because you're playing more spam anyway. The interesting thing is the Bat versus the Ana. I don't really have an opinion about which one is better. I think both can peel off their hit scan just fine. I think Nano is a fine ultimate. I think Bat Window and a Spam Mirror is a fine ultimate. You're not going to get a lot of good nade value as an Ana, and obviously peeking into an Ashe as an Ana can be a little bit trickier where Bat relies more on the splash healing. So it might be more of a hero pick strength thing. Don't really know. Don't think it matters that much. Non-Genji players overvalue him and Genji players undervalue him. I think that's a good way of putting it, yes. Okay. Now, the funny thing here, guys, is that Brig is not weak. But, once again, this does not mean that Brig is OP. It just means that the other options aren't as good right now, right? For example, support has always suffered from lack of options, right? Moira, garbage hero. Mercy, garbage hero. Lifeweaver, garbage hero. And even worse, just a complete trash of joke of a hero, right? Zenyatta has been hit or miss, but Zenyatta's struggles is that he's still a little bit too squishy, and that a lot of the metas haven't favored him as much, but I don't think he's necessarily a bad hero. Bat has been weak for a while, so essentially you've always had like 4 relevant support heroes. 5 if you, obviously 5 if you include Zenyatta, and so people will shuffle around Bap or Brig, Lucio, whatever, and then now you've introduced Kiriko, right? But if it's not a dive meta, Kiriko is not as good. So the problem with support is that people are going to see high pick rates in a certain support and decide that that support's OP, but what you don't see is the gutter with like literally an entire third of the support hero kit that's just completely unplayable. Not only bad, but completely unplayable. So Brig is just good at helping DPS and peeling her backline, right? There's no other support right now that even comes close to filling that niche at any remarkable, like in any way. There's just no niche, right? So is Brig OP? No, Brig just fits the niche for right now. I'm tired of seeing people on Twitter go, oh, look at the pick rate for Brig, she's broken, or look at the pick rate for what says. There's just so much more nuance than that.
Great value, but Kalio's on that Diva, as I said, Jack.
I don't like the Brig rework either. I don't think the ultimate made sense at all, the way that they did it, but let's be intelligent about these things here. Good off angle from Birdring. He's probably not going to be able to stay here. Oh, that's a big goof up from Birdring.
A lot of things we're forgetting about so far.
And that's a big deal because he needs to go high and force the Diva or whatever to spam him, and he can get pocket from Brig. You need to force the Diva to chase you off of the high ground, so then your Diva's free to do whatever she wants. Piggy the Witch, thank you for the sub, mate. Brig is just good at her job, exactly. And she was so bad for a period of time before they had the burst armor pack that people just weren't able to play comps where you could play Brig, right? The biggest buff that Brig has received was the burst heal. By far. It actually allowed her to peel people off.
Keep an eye on the old charge of the Ana versus the Baptiste. The Baptiste historically should get it faster. Kalios gets incredibly...
Yeah, Kalios is just off-angling here, but he's getting poked out. Now, I want you guys to notice something, guys. I want you guys to notice something, guys. This is super tight. Super tight. Check this one out. I'm going to pause, and you guys are going to have your minds blown. Where's the Brig? Why is my Brig not peeling the Diva dive? Where's the Brig? You guys see it? Now tell me why is the Brig there? Tell me why is the Brig here? This is actually so delicious from Vancouver. It makes me so happy. You see this? Think about it. To protect DPS, to shoot off-angle Diva, marking Tracer, anchoring for point, controlling the thing. The anchoring for point's a good point as well. But if Brig was here, she would do a better job peeling the active direct dive, but she would do a worse job helping her Tracer. Because she's here, she can pack the Tracer from either position, but she can actually physically control Decay from flanking. which means that it's harder for Decay to wrap around and dive the high ground. Do you guys see that? Decay can't wrap around and dive the high ground because he's not only going to have a Tracer marking him, he's going to have a Tracer with a freaking Brig on him as well. And in addition to that, he can also pressure point, right? We talked about that, and still peel armor pack the people on high ground without needing to be there. You see, Faith is preventing the dive from mattering by letting Kalios go in, but stopping Tracer from flanking. So it's harder to set up a dive, right? You see, Kalios had no problem diving high ground, but it didn't matter. You force a BAP shift, you force him to peel back, but theoretically, if Vancouver plays this well, a single Diva dive wouldn't matter. Now, here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. If Kalios was on Winston, which he wouldn't be because he's Kalios, he's not a Winston player, would we still see our Brig on the flank? Exactly, because the Winston direct threat is greater than the Diva. So you might sacrifice controlling the flank to make sure that you get that whip shot. Could Decay wrap around on water side? Yes, so good catch. Could Decay not wrap around this side? And the answer is yes, but it's riskier because it's easier for both Aspire and Crimzo to shoot him. And then if Faith sees that happen with new Shield Bash, which everybody hates, right? With new Shield Bash, Faith would immediately be able to reposition from here to the high ground and then do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Because he can go further with Shield Bash that he couldn't Overwatch 1. I say new Shield Bash, I just mean Overwatch 2 Shield Bash. Yeah. A single flail or or a whip shot on a Tracer on a flank is just obnoxious. So basically what Vancouver is doing is like, we have a high ground off angle, we have an off angle with our Tracer, and you're not going to be allowed to take either. You can contest the high ground, but you're not going to be able to take it. So what Boston has to try and do here, I think, is I would like to see Li Gong mirror on the flank here, help his Tracer, and then honestly, I would like Birdring with Ashe to wrap around further left and to not worry so much about the high ground, but see if they could shoot the Brig off here. Maybe force the Brig to disengage back this way, pincer the Brig from range, because I'm complimenting Faith here, but there's always a counter strategy. There's always a counter strategy. It's only be about which team either recognizes it and, more importantly, which team actually executes whatever strategy they want for. Because if you think about this, theoretically here, let's say they're unable to execute, but right now, Birdring is able to hit the Dynamite and Kalios dives. We could have seen Aspire die here. So all the best laid plans could have been messed up by a really nicely timed Dynamite plus dive and whatever. And we'd be sitting there like, where was Faith? Why was Faith trolling, right? So it really just comes down to which team executes better, more often than not. So yes, you can force out Faith by what I was describing earlier. But I want to highlight the good play for Faith here. And you can even like little things like the whip shot there. Bam! There's a little bit of Inspire for your Tracer. You see Decay is just sitting here. He's not doing anything. Now Kalios really needs to stop peeking. Kalios needs to just straight up hide. This is kind of trolling. And then what happens here is then once Kalios gets here, Faith gets nervous, and then Faith wraps back around to peel off. So Faith doesn't even stay. But the damage has been done. Look at Decay's positioning. Decay's not even trying for the flank anymore. So there will be no flank and Bossing say. And that's it. Kalios has no cover. Wait, watch Aspire's head. Everybody's done this. Everybody does this. I know I do this. Watch Aspire's head. You see this? Or maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Are the Vancouver Titans going to force this issue because the backline is stuck in this room?
Oh, this is cute. Are we gonna push? Are we gonna push? They're gonna push.
I mean, they might as well.
I mean, it was a huge stagger if they can get it. Ooh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! They pushed too hard, guys. They went too greedy. Honestly, I don't think they would have expected Li Gong to have rally. It's actually monstrous that he has rally though.
So he's dead. He's just straight dead. He was a couple of percentage points away from that. forcing the issue they did.
They are getting good trades.
To no success. Decay and
All
Legion
right.
not holding it down, especially with the rally. It's so hard. As soon as you're in, it's so hard
Yes.
to get out of this situation. You're just getting a bashed, flailed.
Yeah.
There's so much
I don't know what happened here. I think the push is greedy. I think you need to time this better. I think Boston just greeds it. Like, Aspire isn't there yet. Punk, yeah, exactly. I think Punk needed to get healed. I think Aspire needed to be there. I mean, we're talking again, it's about execution, guys. Pushing inside, always risky. So if you're gonna do it, you need your D.Va at full HP. You need Aspire to actually be there. And seriously, one Dynamite, and this is a clean team fight. What? Just completely, the Boston gets the floor wiped. And that's what's so frustrating about watching things like this, because it's like, bro, if Punk just is healed before he pushes, or if they literally had one Dynamite before they pushed, this is not even a problem.
straight dead. He was a couple of percentage points away from that. Forcing the issue
So
they
this is
did.
why I like talking about like the execution of like all these ideas and stuff, but honestly more often than not it's just team play. Like, it's just team play. You can have the wrong idea but like actually execute as a unit and it works.
You're just getting a bashed, flailed.
Yeah.
There's so much AoE healing too. And
Yes, Rally is busted for like sustain.
A little bit overconfident there from the Titans, believing themselves. They do have the rally.
Kalios might get demeched. Oh, they nano. Their Rally. Again, there's the kiting off the engage. Kalios still might die here, mate. There's an angle from the Tracer. That's good. It's going to force Kalios out. They've used 2 ultimates, and now we've reset right back where we were. Now, I imagine we'll see a Bob from, yeah, Bob from Bird Ring. They're marking, 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 they're marking. They kill the Bob. Punk still has Bob, though. So something mechanical must happen here. What happens here? Because I feel like Boston's still okay. Now Decay is actually given space, and that's it, right? So what happens with Lee Jae gone? Where is Lee Jae gone? I don't even know where Sugar Free is. So Sugar Free's on point here. Looks like he's in the back, right? Oh, he's pushing up. Lee Jae, go! Oh no, he's right here. I'm an idiot. I'm blind. He's right there. So I want to know what happens here. Oh, he trolls, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know if it's a troll. It's just like a high risk play. So I want you to watch really carefully here. So again, replay viewer time. He's pushing up here, which is honestly not bad because you can bash out, right? But I think they go for like the burst on Punk while he's remeching, and he bashes in, but then sleep, but then I think that's a bash in, and then that's gonna kill him, because if you don't have your bash, you're very easy to target. And then it breaks. I mean, even if he doesn't, he probably should have bashed out, honestly, because the problem is, even if he doesn't bash in there, his shield's going to be broken from the D.Va bomb, and so he's not going to be able to disengage. It's a bit of a mistake from Lee Jae. And Kalios commits bomb as well, but that's fights lost. And they commit pulse. Can they get Decay? They're going to get Decay. Yeah. So they go Zarya. Now the funny thing is, I don't even dislike the Zarya, okay? So what are the weaknesses of Zarya? Zarya is not a D.Va counter unless the D.Va can't avoid the Zarya. And what you're noticing here is that this big little mess of a fight on choke, the high ground is not, like, you can't exactly avoid the Zarya as easily here, right? Now, if we're talking about controlling space here, or certainly controlling space in second point, D.Va's gonna be way better. But the Zarya is kind of an interesting cheese, I think, for, like, I mean, you look at Boston, right? Like, they got nothing. You need to make something happen. I actually think this swap is pretty reasonable from Kalios.
Matrix doesn't work against the beam, so if you ever get high charge on the Zarya, then you can just do so much damage, and obviously the Graviton Surge is a great ultimate.
So I just think we need to cap first fight. We don't have any ultimates or first point. We need to make something work.
You might not get that ultimate up.
And you can see that the Genji, okay, so they also go Genji as well. So I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg here, where it's, I want to play Zarya, therefore I'll play Genji because the Genji complements the Zarya, because Genji with bubble is really, really good. Or Decay goes, I want to go Genji and go high ground. I need bubble. I think it's probably the latter. I think the Genji was probably the first decision they made, and they used the Zarya afterwards. But I'm honestly not too sure. Because the Genji, you guys saw it with the when we saw Sombra, right? Where teams would just go bubble Genji plus Sombra on high ground, and it was like an instant free high ground win. So it's honestly a fine try from Boston to go for something like this. It's just unfortunate that they were put in this hole in the first place. The bubble there is definitely early. He will be able to bubble again now if he wants to. Sugar Free misses the pulse. Zarya is able to walk forward. They're just pushing right through. I think that's probably the play. They nano boost this. Oh my gosh, how? So the Zarya just walks and they nano her. And then Li Jie Gong Twilight goes for the nade, and then they rally, and then Bird Ring dies to Tracer on the flank. Oh my gosh, that's actually insanity. No way they. Oh my gosh.
It's just the baby diva, the two smallest characters in the game. Sugar Free's armed himself.
Wow.
Sugar Free's in, pulse bombs the rock. Not getting anything there. Maybe
so they go in really hard, and then Bird Ring ends up getting chipped. I think Bird Ring takes a shot from a Spire there, and then is not able to get healed up. So yes, they die to the AFK W key, but the backline collapses from behind.
There's only a couple of percentage points left for them to actually cap, and Decay is kind of clearing house. There's nothing really that Kalios can do now, as he's got no bubbles. It's just the
wow.
Diva, the two smallest characters in the game, Sugar Free and Punk. On Li Jie Gong has it the heck of a rollout, but it's not.
Wow.
94% for the Boston Uprising on first points. Strong, and this is that.
Good defense by Vancouver there, like being able to come back from some of those situations. I don't even think Boston played it too poorly. It's like the DMAC on like Kalios is like really corny. But wow. Okay. Now, this is kind of what I talked about here, where, you know, you think about like the strengths of the Diva and what the Diva provides, and then you do basically what Boston did on the last fight, but you do it on your first fight, where you're going, why are we playing Diva if we know they're going to play Diva? They don't have a Winston swap, and we're not even playing for second point. We're just going to play for to smash our faces against each other on first point. Why not go Sigma? Right? Did Twilight die because he peeked that window? Yes, but he was going for an anti-nade. That's why he peeked. Now, you can argue that wasn't necessary from the position that he was at, so yes, it was a mistake from Twilight. But there's a reason for that. So I like this from Vancouver a lot. It's just knowing that you're only playing for 1 point, and you already know what composition they're going to play. Not to mention, I like the Flux being better for like an all-in win condition, where you just blow all of your ultimates just to cap first. The Flux is better than Bomb for that. And so now all you have to do is you spam high ground or you spam point. Like, it's, oh, you almost ate it. Okay. There's really nothing complicated here. You're just going to shoot people. And you're just going to keep shooting, you're going to keep shooting, you're going to keep shooting. The only way Boston can win this is if Kalios is able to somehow leverage a dive on, and then let me show you where that dive would be. So where are we at here? Will it give me a good frame? Bless. Okay, so basically what you'd have to do is you'd have to somehow like leverage like Kalios and Decay controlling the angle together here, so that Decay gets more freedom to wrap around behind, because remember, like the Brig was controlling it, you also have a Diva that can control this flank here, so that you really need to win this flank, right? The other thing that you could do is you could have Kalios plays on like here and flies up and over to the opposing high ground and basically hard flanks the enemy backline from the high ground, and basically just causing a distraction, causing pressure on the enemy Ashe, and that sets up his Tracer Brig to push in from here, and that sets up his Ashe from the high ground. Again, you cannot match this to this without taking some sort of a flank or an angle to win. It's the same thing as how you play versus Azari. The Sigma's just going to slowly spam you out, so you have to leverage the D.Va as either a controlling an angle threat to where you win the Tracer duel because of your D.Va, or you set up your D.Va as a secondary fat Tracer on the backline. Like you know where I'm talking about, right? The high ground right behind this here. It's crazy, but it has to be done. It has to be done. Like even little things like that Kalios is doing are they're just not. It's not worth it, right? I'm surprised Punk is playing this as aggressively as he is, but yeah, Kalios is just bleeding damage.
And then he also gets rocked if he just kind of rolls into Punk.
Because the thing with Sigma is that he can be a lot more aggressive, like just walking, and yet Kalios is not doing anything.
I mean, Faith dead, sure, but Twilight now just randomly getting sphered. It's just falling apart for the boss.
It's really hard for me to see what's happening elsewhere, just by the nature of like the POV that we're given.
2 ticks on the board. There's a poke spawn for Sugarfree, and he's in the back line. Kalios needs healing. So does DJ Gon.
Yeah, he hits the whip shot, so he is healing himself a little bit, but Kalios is already out of mech.
No self-destruct to get the remake.
That should be it. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was a good swap by Vancouver, and Boston just didn't adjust. It's a hard adjustment, to be clear, but like, you see this all the time, where one team will make just some weird alternative swap, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, you know? Now, they were obviously put in a horrible situation, right? Playing for first point is terrible, but like you can't do that. Okay, let's talk about Boston comp. So Boston comp is essentially just dive, but with the D.Va. You're gonna have your Sombra Tracer working on either backline or an enemy DPS most of the time. D.Va's looking to control contest card or control the enemy backline. I think the D.Va is also pretty good just for controlling, like if they were to run a sniper, which it looks like Vancouver's going to, then the D.Va's pretty good at even not necessarily killing the target, but keeping that target busy. D.Va's just good on Rialto just because of how long the space is, and it's the exact same reason why you run D.Va on Blizzard World. So neither of these teams want to commit to the Winston. I don't think the Winston's as good here, and yeah, that's it. I know a lot of people were hating on the D.Va pick, but I do think the D.Va pick on specific maps is the best tank. I really do think that.
Going forward, because this means
in this current meta,
that the Boston Uprising are going to have to play aggressively.
Now, I like the hit scan here, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I like the hit scan here because I think the map is pretty good for it. I think it's the same exact argument for Blizzard World. Slightly longer sight lines, play the hit scan. And I think Aspire is a great hit scan, one of the best in the league. Why would you not use it? Why would you go Sombra? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how good Birdwing Sombra is, at least compared to some of the league's best, but like just play your strengths here. Like play your strengths. This ain't deep. The interesting thing for me is the Ana versus the Baptiste. The Ana for the Sombra Tracer makes sense because the nano value gets a little bit extra higher because you have an extra nano target. And then there's more dive opportunities. But it might be that the amount of movement and flexibility demanded on this map compared to Blizzard World demands the Ana. I'm honestly not too sure. It could be that also Crimson knows that they're not going to be playing the sniper comp, so that the downsides of Baptiste is that he is pretty fragile to Sombra Tracer. Ana, not as much. Just the nature of her nade, the nature of her sleep, those things are a lot. And the nature of Baptiste's survivability is that he's not as good versus the dive heroes, but he's good versus the other heroes. So yeah. What's Kalios' best hero? I would say Kalios' best hero is probably Sigma, mechanically, if my knowledge is correct. He basically single-handedly won them Route 66 when we played them as London last season. We still won the match, but yeah.
Yeah, that's sustained damage from the Hanzo.
Rolled.
That's not quite sustained. Yeah, even Birdwing a little bit surprised.
Now, I like Hanzo. I do not like Hanzo versus Winston. So if this had been a Winston, I think we probably would have seen maybe an Ashe, or maybe even a Sojourn. But Hanzo, when you don't have the Winston dive threat, I like Hanzo versus the dive heroes, as long as it's not Winston.
Aspire hit that one. My God, another headshot too. Just quite managed to clean up the kill.
That was a good shot. He was Sonic. I don't even know if he realized it.
Oh, wow.
What are we looking at here?
Aspire, show us what you got. Oh, wow.
Twilight.
Kalios aggressively marking. I don't like the aggressive mark on the enemy D.Va as much. You got to be really careful about that.
And you can see the differences between this Hanzo and the Sombra. Obviously, the Sombra instantly went down.
Oh, jeez.
Again,
I don't know why Birdring didn't TP
I
out.
prefer the hit scan because you don't have that Winston follow-up onto anyone you hack, and you can see...
I do agree with Custa here. I think that Sombra and Tracer can absolutely function without a Winston. I don't think you demand the Winston follow-up, but I do think that the way the composition plays, which is dueling DPS, means that the D.Va is less attractive when they're running a hit scan. I do think that the hit scan rises up in terms of attractiveness for that. What I mean by that is Sombra Tracer are really good at hacking and killing things like the enemy Tracers, but then when you play Hanzo, you could still hack and kill a Hanzo, but it's a little bit scarier, and it's also scary because you don't have a Winston bubble to follow up on. Winston, you see, is harder in the setup phase because he's more fragile, but when he commits, he's more lethal, and that's something that's scary for heroes like hit scans. This map is not very good for Winston, so that heroes like Hanzo are a lot more free. And heroes like Sombra are less attractive, not because Sombra is bad, but because one of her synergies isn't as attractive, right? You can't balance in a vacuum. This is what we're talking about, right? Think about how many steps that we've had to think about to come to the conclusion that Hanzo might be a little bit better, right? Now, the most important thing is hero strengths, and Aspire is a phenomenal hit scan. So that's the most important thing to learn from this.
just trying to force it a little bit.
But there are a lot of things, and I do agree with Custa. I think, Birdwing is going to swap here, and I think that's probably the right swap.
But this is so difficult to get these last couple of meters.
Now, I'm going to pause for a quick second here, because this is one of the notoriously difficult to break chokes. And there's one reason why. Well, there's really a couple of reasons why. One is that attackers don't have good angles, but the most important reason why is that if there is a Widowmaker that can set up on this high ground up here, do you guys remember my live stream from this past weekend, my companion stream? The Widowmaker that is on this sight line is almost impossible to contest. It is too hard for flankers to wrap around and reach her. It takes forever to get to her. And if you run a Widowmaker of your own, the only way that you could peek her is right here, where she's very, very easy to, where if you peek her here, her team can pressure you right back again. If you take the flank on coast, as I showed in stream, I'll actually do this in a custom game in just a second, you actually can't see the Widowmaker. You can't see her. Now, I'm going to show this from Aspire's perspective, because if I remember correctly, Aspire played defense on Widow. I don't remember what happened this map. I just knew they played Widow, so we'll showcase it there. But will Birdring get good value? Will Vancouver be able to win fast enough? They won't. So I'm curious what happens here. Now, the nice thing about Hanzo is the Hanzo gets a lot of value without having to peek the Widowmaker, right? In other words, Hanzo can just sit and shoot Decay or shoot tanks, and he's pretty comfortable with this. So that is nice. So even if you can't contest Birdring, you can still get work done, right? And there's your mechanics right there. How is Kalios getting demech'd here? Kalios, I've noticed, plays very aggressively on tank trading. Maybe not as good with his resource management here. Like even stuff like that right there, he loses so much HP. He peeks a little bit too much right there, and he drops out of armor. He's still peeking, and he gets naded. So yeah, Kalios is hit or miss on the D.Va for sure. Nice shot by Birdring. It doesn't matter. That's going to be cap. Should be cap, surely. Surely. Yeah, it's going to be cap. And it's just a shame because Birdring is doing the Lord's work right now, right? He's doing so much. It just, yeah. I just don't think Kalios needed to force that as much as he did. And Nano, yep. Wait. What happened with Nano? Oh no! Good catch. I didn't even see that. Oh, they naded Kalios or nanoed Kalios. Oh, that is a disaster. Yeah, I mean, this is that's just a goof from Kalios, really. Like the nade, but also just how much damage he was taking prior to that for no particular reason. That's a huge throw by Kalios. Because Birdring was doing fine. Like that could have been stalled for ages by Boston. Hanzo just has better ranged pressure than Torb. Torb is more anti-flanker. You will see Torb sometimes in Koth and the Sombra Tracer, but if they go like Hanzo, for example, you're cooked. Like Hanzo, just you're so fat. The problem with Torb is he's also super easy to shut down turret-wise and body-wise with just any sort of range DPS at all. Ashe, Hanzo, anything like that.
Disappears and they don't have that health and sustainability.
I'm surprised Birdring's staying here. They're really taking a fight here, aren't they? Did they all get good spawns? I didn't even see. Yeah, the Widowmaker sideline here is a little Duke. This is good. That's, yeah, there you go. As I said, that's good. Ah, no. So, really nice regroup from Boston. Honestly impressive. Obviously off of Birdring's shoulders there. This is going to be hard to retake with Hanzo. Yep, there's the Widowmaker swap. I was going to say, it's not even worth keeping the Dragon. The Widowmaker is just miserable to cross here, so you need a Widowmaker of your own. Now, my question... Okay. I wonder if a team, regardless of the card here, held close and just left the Widowmaker here. Just like a first point contest here. What would you do if you're Vancouver? Wouldn't you just have the same problems? Because the problem here is if you play on back high ground here, like with your on-end Brig, or even like under here, you give Aspire somebody to shoot other than the enemy Widowmaker. You see what I'm saying? But if you all play in this close corners here, it's only Birdring and the Birdring here. What is Aspire supposed to shoot at? Besides the Widowmaker, who we already established can just avoid the duel entirely. Maybe he would just go back to Hanzo then? I don't know. Something to consider. I don't know. Aspire shot here goes crazy. All right.
So Aspire is actually
Also, Pachamari, bro, I'm legit gonna call my mother and be like, yo, guess who subbed to me on Twitch? And she's gonna be like, the what? The what? I'm like, bad Pachamari. And she's like, did you, what? I'm like, yep.
to just sort of force Birdring to respect the positioning a little bit.
I hope you understand that my mother is gonna be so proud of me. Ah!
To respect the positioning a little bit more.
And like we said, he doesn't even need to take the Widow duel, and that's it. That's the break right there.
Oh, Aspire.
Wait, a tier 3? Was it a gift? Oh my gosh! No way! No way! Was it gifted?
Package, put that one too.
No way somebody of bad Pachamari's IQ actually gives me a tier 3 sub. And I'll let that statement remain ambiguous. You get what I'm saying? I was gifted. Crap, man. Alright. That's crazy. But yeah, this is what I was saying. It's like with Boston's high ground setup, it is a lot more of a dice roll about which Widowmaker is going to pop off, because technically both of the squishies can do things. Now, it's still Defender's advantage because it's really hard for the enemy Tracer to set up and for the enemy Diva to set up, but it was interesting. It was interesting. All right, ultimates here. So I think like when we talk about like spam like matchups, and by spam I just mean like range matchups, even when you have like heroes like Tracer and Brig and stuff, it's definitely more nuanced than just like, okay, they have this ult, this is how they'll play. Like, because there's so much, like so many variables and so many things that can go wrong. So here's the way I look at things. The way I look at things is when you're playing sniper comps, a lot of the time it's less about what ultimates that you're using and where you're fighting, and more about playing around the map. You get to see what I'm saying? So it's like, think about it this way. If this is a brawl comp, corners, high ground, all that kind of stuff is important, but it's not like every single angle in the world is like, you have to fight around this. But with this, it's like, Widowmaker positioning is so important. And winning the Widowmaker duel, and it's establishing a Tracer flank, so important, right? Map positioning matters a lot more than it does on their map. So what you might think about is you might go Boston going to this fight, and they might not even be thinking about like where can we set up our best rally. They might be thinking, where is their best position for a Widowmaker? And that's something that's kind of unique to more spam comps, right? Your ults definitely matter, but it matters less than like the map that you control. Aspire is good. I mean, it was a great... Okay, let's actually talk about why Aspire is good. So everybody knows that the shot on the Widowmaker was good. Like, it doesn't take an idiot to see that. Okay? This is why Aspire is good, though. If you're Twilight, where is Aspire? He's on the other side of the back right. So Twilight thinks he's managing his peaks around where Aspire is. But Aspire isn't there. Aspire is up in the sky. This is why grapple is so important. Like, this is when I had that double sniper macro video I uploaded, and the first thing I'm telling Widowmakers and double snipers is if you are not using a grapple off of cooldown to set up trick shots like these, you're trolling. Unless the enemy Tracer is like directly on you, then you need to use it to disengage. You need to be readjusting your crosshair with Grapple. Suyong, thank you for the sub. I don't know why I didn't get a notification. But Twilight's not ready for this. Oh, there it is. He's not ready for this. He had no idea that he was even there. Now this is just a stupid shot, right? They both know where each other are, or at least Birdring knew. He just, I don't even know. Like that was like a pixel. Like it's just ridiculous. But the first one was a good strategic decision. No tracer threat, go for the shot. Taking his turn, sure. That's wild right there. Now, so we gotta have mirror rallies. The Nano is probably gonna go onto Tracer or Diva. Honestly, neither of them are amazing because there's like so many like peel tools. But yeah. So there's sights. Honestly, Vancouver doesn't need to do anything with the sights. They can just hide and wait it out. Ooh, nice little 180 head movement from Aspire there. You see me flick his head. Now you see this a lot because what Aspire is doing is obviously he's playing to live here. But what Aspire is also doing is he's baiting, okay? He's baiting. He's keeping Birdring's attention in this one little corner and not allowing Birdring to focus on what's happening up here or to shoot anybody else in the fight. So one of the things that you guys can do at your own risk against a really good Widowmaker with sights is pretend to peek. Especially if there's something else going on here and there's nothing else you can be doing. Keep her zoned in on you, because what is Aspire going to do right now? Really, like what is Aspire going to do right now? He's not going to take the duel. There's sights. There's nobody else to shoot, so might as well just bait Birdring. Right? And the other thing too is that look at what Boston is doing, or Vancouver is doing at this exact point in time, right? They're rally pushing. Birdring is in no position to do anything right now. Birdring probably should be repositioning closer to boats behind him, where it's a little bit more unpredictable and there's a little bit more of a long sight line. Birdring is getting tunneled, and it's Aspire's fault. So we might see a Nano Diva. Honestly, Vancouver strikes me as a type of team that might just blow like literally everything just to try and run over Boston here. I don't know how that's going to work. I imagine it's going to be more dependent on like sleeps and nades and who lands those. Maybe even a pulse bomb from either team, actually. That would probably be the more likely thing. I'm curious to see what happens here. My prediction is nade or pulse bomb. I might be dead wrong though. Oh no, they don't brute pulse it. Oh wow, Decay just kills Aspire. Does Decay come up from underneath? Yeah, he does. Yeah, so Vancouver pushes. Yeah, there it is. So there's the pulse bomb, Decay, good flank. So that's the other thing too. It's like Vancouver. We remember you guys saw this on Oasis, right? Oasis, where Vancouver's just like turning their brains off, W King, and then I was like, I don't like that, right? This is why I don't like that, because like it worked there, it doesn't work here, because they don't control the off angles, they don't control the flanks, they ended up getting pincered from behind, and Decay just straight up kills 2 without even being scouted. That's like the Western NA classic. Push, 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 guys. Surely, let's push. Ah, it's not very good. Forcing through here. So the way to wait. So let's talk about what we do instead. Then what I would do instead is bait out sights, send your tracer along this side with pocket, focus on controlling point, and have like established to try. Like Vancouver needs to try and take this side of the map here. You can't brute force here. Even if you have like, oh, we have Nano and Rally. Well, they have Nano and Rally too. So you need to try and, I think, swing out here. Maybe try and bully Birdring back this direction. Maybe set up a Spire over here. I play more for space, and space that you can actually control. You can't just brute force this. You can't walk out of a choke like that, right? How many times have we said that just this match, right? It would only work if they didn't have either support on, and even then Decay still kills 2, right? The result would have been the same. So, well done by Decay. I hope that you guys look at this and you're like, wow, Decay's played pretty well, like Birdring's played pretty well, and yet Boston are down 2-0. I'm telling you guys, it's a team game. Like, mechanics matter so much, but it's not everything. It's so much more nuanced than that. Notice that the Spire repositioned to main, right? He goes, the guy's got the beat on me. Here's a grapple shot. Will he get anything with it? No. Tracer on him. He's got to be careful. You notice, by the way, that Tracer goes in when he doesn't have grapple, right? That's where he's weak, right? When he doesn't have grapple. And he can't even scope in, because if he scopes in, the Tracer will one-clip him. Now he's good. Oh, this is questionable. Why did he drop? Maybe he was scared of, but I think Punk had the D. Punk was up there, right? But they nano Punk for space, it looks like. which honestly I don't even hate. Remember, we talked about this. Space is more important than ultimates in this matchup, right? So if you nano punk and Boston's like, yo, they wasted an ultimate, let's back up. You're like, we'll take that, right? Like, there's more of a chance that our Pulse or our Tracer or whatever just gonna like hit a shot, you know? And so at least you got over the choke. The problem here is I don't feel like Vancouver got that much space. Like, they're still stuck on the floor here. They crossed, but I don't know. I don't know why Aspire dropped. How do Vancouver win this? They don't win this, do they? Do they lose? They must lose. Okay. Well, I ask a stupid question, I get a stupid answer. Yeah, Tracer's just super flexible. Yeah, Tracer's just super flexible. I made a video on this recently about Overwatch balance. Tracer's just the hero that has a limitless skill ceiling, and that's why she's played. She's just balanced so well that if you're a really, really good player, you'll be a really, really good Tracer. And there's too many DPS and support tank heroes that you're not able to do the same thing. Ooh, Twilight gets the kill. I mean, this is still fine though for Vancouver. Like, a messy fight here isn't necessarily a problem. Oh, no way. No way. Okay, we gotta watch this. I gotta see this. So the sleep on Decay with Pulse, huge. That buys Faith time to get back from the Translocate, or the Translocate, from the nade. Why did I say Translocate? Then they hit the whip shot. There's the peel. What happens to Crimzo? Crimzo like does a little, does he get booped? Oh yeah, they get flanked from behind by D.Va. It's honestly not too bad from Kalios, but they're not able to get the pulse bomb in time. They juke the pulse bomb. That's gonna force recall. Crimzo is able to get rallied. They sleep the rally from across the opposite height. Where's Twilight? Hello? Where was, I'm sorry, was Twilight there too? Where's Twilight? He's walking. He's walking. Oh, I didn't even see Twilight. Twilight runs it down. There he is. There he is. And then he sleeps. But now Twilight's in trouble. He gets out. But Kalios, what? Kalios just drops bomb on Faith, which is actually really smart. I'll trade. And Kalios gets the remake as well. But Twilight dies for it. And so it's a messy fight that Vancouver is able to make work. Okay. Why would Decay recall? Good question. It might have, I mean, if you're standing still versus a Brig on it, you can get like flailed or whip shot and be even with 155 HP, like one shot and a whip shot and you're basically dead. So I mean, it is a fair recall. Like, there's nowhere really to blink out there outside from going back the direction he came. He probably could have blinked back the opposite way he came. That would have been the optimal play. But it is a habit that a lot of Tracers get into, where they'll dump a clip and then recall without thought. So you're probably right. I don't think the recall was necessary. All right, well, remember we talked about space, right? So Boston still has an old advantage here, but at least Vancouver has space. And all of the best laid plans of mice and men might just go right out the window, depending on what Aspire does. Or a Birdroom. Nah. Again, I don't... Oh my gosh, they just straight up trade Tracers. Where is Decay? I don't know. It looked like underneath the bridge. I still would love for Vancouver to spend more time on trying to rotate across to right, if that is at all possible. Nano Brig. Boston gets baited to push because this is the West and this is all we do. They get massive naded and they counter Nano, and that's going to cost Kalios' mech. Pushing through a choke is really, really hard. If you don't have an off angle or a distraction to set up or capitalize off the attention that you're getting, pushing through a choke is really, 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 really hard. Please, please, please don't force this unless you have an off angle or some way of setting it up. It drives me nuts. Now, I say the West, I'm just generalizing right here, but it drives me nuts how many teams I see just press W because we have an ultimate, and you just walk through a choke. You just walk through a choke. You cannot just W key like that all the time. If all teams play with default skins, as far as I know, they play with default skins, or the team skins. Do you mean in scrims? I mean, they're playing with team skins in scrims, so Yeah.
They've seen Decay in the back line. They're trying to deal
Again, stalematey. Cute little flank by Birdring. Off of that push, though, he's able to get grapple back. So what happens here? Finally, we look like... Please, 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 please. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have space. On the left. We actually have set up a little bit of an angle here. We've taken some of the heat off of Vancouver. We're good to go.
once again. He's been hitting shots, which
I don't even know why I say anything anymore. Like at this point in time, every time I say something, it's just guaranteed not to work. I don't even know why I try anymore. Why am I here? Man, come on.
he's been hitting shots, which he has no right to hit.
All scoped in. Decay hits the
Man.
recall after the clip. Now Birdring
At least they still have a... Alright, Sugar Free has a pulse. Hanzo to get back faster. Where is Birdring? Where's Birdring? Where's Birdring? Is Birdring just trolling? I think Birdring's just trolling.
Decay right on the stairs, lands it on it, but Faith just shields it and manages to
I think Punk just straight up just 2v1s the backline. Wait, what happens with the Gong? What happens with the Gong? I want to know what happens with Lee Jae Gong. Because we're popping Rally here. Ah! They're pressing W again! They're pressing W again! They're running it down mid. Meanwhile, Birdring and Twilight dies to a Diva. No! Disconnect, ladies and gentlemen. Disconnect, disconnect. Disconnect and greed. Disconnect and greed. If you press the W key without checking the flicks, you deserve to die. I couldn't think of a rhyme fast enough. I choked.
Trying to put up pressure, trying to give his
Ah! Come on, y'all. Dang it, man. Ah!
for the Titans.
a minute and a half. Birdring on Hanzo.
Yeah, he goes back to the Hanzo.
I mean, it's hard, right? You know? But I just don't... I think it's... Even with, like, the movement speed reduction of Rally, you know? I don't know.
Hanzo pick. You can't play Widow on the third point. There's just nowhere to see, but
Hanzo swap is expected. You have a massive ult bank from Vancouver. This might be a one-fight territory tier. I'm not surprised that Boston's pushing up here. They need to try and force a fight here. There's a Nano. A little bit of the loss here. Aspire gets the kill on Birdring. I don't know what happens there. There's no way to know what happens there. Kalios is going to save Bomb. Honestly, it really not even that terrible from Boston as long as nobody else dies, because they forced double support ult and they used Jack All. So as long as you're able to get a comfortable recontest, which I think you're going to be able to get a reasonably comfortable recontest here. You have a Nano out, you have a Bomb out, you'll have a Pulse soon. So I'm curious how Vancouver wins this. It might be a shot from Aspire, or maybe Pulse Bomb.
don't give them any space, but you can see
There's a Nano, forcing a lot of space. Vancouver. Well played, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. They just straight up disengage. Wow, that was really well done. I'm going to be honest. The level of these two teams has not led me to believe that this was going to happen. I'm going to be perfectly honest. The level of team, the level of like ult planning here, I didn't think that these guys were good enough to do this. I was glad to be proven wrong. I mean that with all due respect. I don't think these are bad teams. I just didn't think that that was like good enough. Oh, he does catch the dragon though, but obviously not the most impactful ultimate. Aspire headshot. And that's really the difference maker here. I think it's like Aspire somehow is able to hit a headshot on the Hanzo, and that's gonna be it right there. I don't know what happened. I might have just been mechanics. There's really nothing to say here. Both teams are just smashing their faces into each other in point. So it's gonna be which team hits their shots, and it's Vancouver. Plot twist. They found the S key. Yes. Would a Rhine Shield not work better? I imagine on this point, yes. You would probably have teams play Sigma on this map. But I think it was the bomb. Are you talking about this point? On second point, no. It's too wide open and high groundy and stuff. You'd play Diva. The reason they just pressed W there was just because Lee Jae Gong had Rally. And Lee Jae Gong kind of got tunneled a little bit and they lost. Like, the same way where, like, they forgot to care for Aspire on the flank and then he dies to, like, one clip on Tracer, which, to be fair, was really fast. The same way that Boston kind of gets, like, a little bit tunneled. Like, both teams, when they have, like, these W key, like, opportunities, they just They just W key and then they die in the flank, like every single time, or they overextend and they get punished in the front line. So like that's a big habit to both team. Oh, sleep on decay? Have I done any reviews of Atlanta? No, I did some scrim reviews of Atlanta.
There will be a rally. It's going to be rather large, but Chaos is actually out of Mexico. Oh, a nice poke spot onto Crimson might just even the tides. There's 2 points and now in over.
Oh, wait a second, guys. Wait a second. Wait a second. Look at me. Screw me, man. Look at me.
They do have a pulse in the dragon.
You're right.
The Vancouver Titans have no ults in their back, but Aspire still got the
So what happens here?
trying to find headshots. There will be a rally.
There's the rally push. Faith bashes back to his team and gets wow, a stick. That was almost an accident, I feel like. And then Sugar Free looks like he gets tapped by Twilight.
Poke spot onto Crimson might just
Maybe?
even the tides. There's 2 points
Yeah.
now in overtime as Decay
What happens?
control this 3rd point.
With the closer spawns, they're just
They don't cap.
quickly.
Decay
Wait, they do cap. They don't cap.
With the closer
So Faith gets his ultimate.
too quickly.
Decay
They get the kill on Lige Gong, which is huge. They get the kill on Kalios, which is obviously huge. They get the kill on Bird Ring, which is huge.
he's just too good. Decay, he's trying his darndest to try and get the
Huge shots by Twilight here. Very stallable here. Big nade, and they see Charlie Niner. Charles Chucky the Jr. Wow. Thank you. That stick was honestly a total accident. I'm not gonna lie with you guys. I don't even think he was intending for the Ana.
When you walk into this Widowmaker versus Widow
Am I allowed to stream Al Replay Viewer or not since it's OPR locked? Nobody can stream Al Viewer.
by
Even if you have OPR access, you're not allowed to.
setups, if your Widow is popping off, you
Okay, okay, let's keep going. Boston definitely struggling. A lot of issues where they're just Kalios is trolling the lobby a little bit. I see some issues with a lot. I mean, obviously Vancouver struggled, but honestly, just cleaning up team fights, really cleaning up team fights. A lot of fights happening on the angle or flank or happening on the backline that are people are screwing up for.
you could do anything else and it
The way to watch Alice, look up Overwatch League schedule and you'll find their website and they'll talk about like I think like week 3 or week 4 you'll be able to look up when the matches are,
be able to move around
and it's a YouTube channel.
value all picks.
You can watch them on YouTube and they're live Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think during the afternoons, evenings EST, and during very early mornings EST, like 5-6 a.m. is the APAC, the Asian region. Okay, so let's see what happens here.
Bandage that one right up.
Aspire gives away his position. He needs to reposition. Now, what I like from Aspire here is that he's going to go for the Widow duel off of the grapple, but then... Oh my gosh, that is a disgusting shot. Mid-grapple from both of them? What?
my god. I mean, live or die by your Widow right now.
What?
Living. Titans. Yeah, they're dying. Pretty quick. Another one, maybe?
Holy crap. Now,
I'll live by Bird Ring, honestly.
I'll live or die by that, man. Any day.
let's do one quick pause because I want to show you guys something. I'm going to do it quickly because I did this live on stream this past Saturday when we had the companion stream, but I want to showcase it super fast. Remember what we talked about in terms of the sightline advantage on defense, right? Where if you play on the opposing high ground, you can completely hide from the attacking Widowmaker on any position that she takes outside of directly on cart or the high ground directly above cart, where it's very easy for the enemy team to clear you out. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If we go into a map, let me pick, whoops, Rialto. My question is how and does Bird Ring find a way? Because don't tell me, chat. I don't know how long this fight goes. First point, second point, third point, whatever. I know they win the map, but I don't know. If Aspire is up here, he can peek onto point, and even if Bird Ring goes over here, he doesn't get shot. Watch this. You see this? So the only way Bird King can shoot him from here or from here, where my team can help me, right, and pressure him out, or from here, where it's very easy to clear him out. So what ends up happening is attacking Widowmakers on this point have a really, 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 really hard time doing anything. Because even when you take in, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot cart as a Widowmaker? Not, it's very hard, right? So what you kind of have to do is you kind of need, as attackers, you kind of have to like go like 3, 2, 1, explode, and then do like a super, super, super RNG flank here. Unless you have like massive ults, because you can't shoot the Widowmaker from here. You have to go like hard flank mode. Playing all the way back, good question. Wait till I pull it up though, you'll see. You can't see your head. You can't see your head. So the only thing you can do is you can definitely grapple, but that's pretty much the only way that you can do it. It's like super, super, super limited. It's super, super, super limited, right? So this is why attacking Widowmaker is such a problem on capping. It's why so many teams struggle to cap here. Yeah. Far right, too risky. Too risky. It's again too easy to push. And like, what are you gonna do? Go here? I mean, yes, but again, it's like risk versus reward. It's unbelievably risky. So, you know, it is something else. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's keep going. I want to see if this actually gets exploited, because crap, guys, was it the Gladiators versus Mayhem? I think it was Gladiators versus Mayhem. I think it was Kai who was leveraging this. But I want to see how this works here.
That could just be the first point right here. You can see the Vancouver Titans thinking about crossing this bridge.
So Birdwing stuck on main. He's going to go for the grapple. Is he going to hit it? Nope. Again, like, look at how crappy of a sightline this is. This is why it's so stallable. It's for this exact same reason. Now, this is why something like Hanzo feels really good, because Hanzo can actually do work here. But it also means that Hanzo, I do think, is worse in the first part of first. So it's like, it's a bit of a, it's rough. There's the Nano Diva. What happens with Nano Kalios? Why is Kalios getting nanoed here? I want to know, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know. I think they see purple Diva, so then they just go in. I don't even know where Kalios is. I don't know where Kalios is. Does anybody see Kalios? Kalios on the left? Kalios on the left? Is he still on the left? Is he on point? Is he flying in the right? I think he flies in right. I think he flies in here and there's a miscommunication. I think he actually disengages when he gets nanoed. And so the punk goes, oh, why is he going over there? I think that's what happens. Oh, man. And so then Sugar-Free smacks Twilight. I think Sugar-Free just straight up... Oh, yeah, Sugar-Free... Where is Sugar-Free? Yeah, Sugar-Free wraps around here, I think, and wraps and flanks. Because Kalios is on the other window, then recalls, then there's a trade there. Then Punk dies because he gets hit with Pulse Bomb, I think. Or no, he doesn't. He gets naded and then shot. Maybe Birdwing hits a headshot in Punk? I'm not sure why Punk is so low. And then... Yeah, I was having such a hard time seeing what's happening here. Li Jae Gong does the trolling thing. Whereas Li Jae Gong goes too deep. Disengages out. Faith gets nanoed. Oh, Faith gets nanoed. Runs it down. And then Faith just absolutely savages Boston. Whack, 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 thwack, thwack, thonk, clonk, clang, bong, bong. And dare I say, clonk. Main thing to take away here is I think the Nano Kalios was a big issue. I think that was a complete miscommunication, and I think that's what happened here. I think the Nano on Kalios, the miscommunication, the Nano Brig, maximum value, Nano Diva, minimum value, GG's. Another bit of a miscommunication, bit of a team play goof from Boston. The good old Batman intro. So Boston's gonna try to rotate out top. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Faith pops rally. Oh no, it's the W key strat, ladies and gentlemen. It's the W key. And Boston doesn't kite it. Lee Jae-gong almost dies. Lee Jae-gong might die. The W key works! It works! We ran it down mid! We ran it down mid, guys! We did it! We did it! We ran it down mid! Confirmed! Owl solved! Press your ultimates and run it down mid, and you're guaranteed to win every game. Lee Jae-gong doesn't quite get his rally off in time, or doesn't quite get it in time, and they get punched to death. W key, America, America, America. Hey, nice. Oh, say can you see by the wandering light? Nice. We do it. This is how we do it here in America, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Well done, Vancouver. Now, honestly, though, big thing there is that Boston just doesn't kite it well. Think about what if Boston had done what Vancouver did to them on third point, or if Lee Jae-gong had been 98% on rally instead of 95 or whatever, totally different story. That being said, hey, 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 USA, USA. Zen is just this is just we don't know what to do. Let's try and break this choke. I mean, it's honestly not even a bad idea. Nah, dude. Listen, America is a spirit. It is not a country. It is not a nation. If you have the spirit of America. Canada showed the spirit of America. Faith is Korean, right? So Faith showed an American spirit. Oh. Now, the funny thing here is that very quietly, Decay has been able to sneak onto Cart, and he's going to be able to get to Aspire. So that is one problem about fighting on this particular area instead of fighting in the back window, is that your Widowmaker is actually accessible here. So Aspire dies, and he dies with sights. Brilliant. No way they did W key. Oh. Wait, did they W key? I think they tried to W key. No. Bourbon gets sugar free. How do Boston lose this? How? Somebody share with me. Somebody share with me. The W key strat doesn't work. Oh, my faith is destroyed. No, we can't lose. The stars and stripes have fallen. Olympus has fallen. Olympus has fallen. All right, what happens? What happens? So Kalios gets naded. What? How? Now wait a second. Wait a second. I'm assuming that this doesn't end on here. Boston. I don't know. Boston caps this, right? Wait, no. Wait, what?
So he's going to be the late toucher for this team. And if they can buy their team enough time for Punk to get here, so he's going to be the.
Did you guys see this? Did you just see this?
Got a good chance now, Scott, though, to be fair.
Decay is on the right side here. He goes for a pulse from the right side, from Lee Jae-gong's flank. He hits the pulse and kills Crimzo. They pulse on Lee Jae-gong, or Lee Jae-gong, yeah. Sugar Free misses. Decay recalls back into the pulse bomb. There it is right there. You see that? Oh my gosh. There's no way. And Legion Kong dies! How does he even die? Oh, he gets body shot. No way. Dude, Twilight was doing work. I really like the Zen here, actually. I think the Zen for breaking that first point. You know what's actually funny, chat? I wonder if the Zen is actually just not straight up better. At least in this particular matchup. Because this is how metas evolve, right? People play Winston Summer Tracer, and then people go, wait, Winston's not even that good in this point. What if we try Diva Summer Tracer? Oh, wait, do we even have to play Summer Tracer? Why don't we just play Hitscan Tracer for playing this? Wait, why are we even playing On anymore? Nano sucks. Like, every nade's getting like eaten and sleep dart, it's Diva. Why don't we go Brig Zen, right? I think we might, Brig Zen might have promise on this particular matchup. There's no way, man, no. There's no way. There's no way. They actually lost to a recall pulse bomb. And I got one thing to say, guys. USA, 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 USA. No, 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 no. USA, USA, USA. Won't the Diva just fall over though? No, not really, no. It's definitely a lower healing, but we've had Diva Briggs in metas before. Oh no, Lee Jae Gong, don't be sad. Dude, I feel... Oh no.
My God, a statement win from the Vancouver Titans. You can see in the camera.
USA, 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 USA. Hey. So, it's funny. I think like there were moments where Boston individually played poorly. Lee Jae Gong, Kalios, Decay, to an extent Twilight, everybody had their moments. It just didn't feel, it felt like there was just too many ult fights that didn't execute well on, too many miscommunications, too many mistimings. I just don't think their team play or their macro execution was at all. Like if you break it down, Oasis, let me think here. Ult fights lost that shouldn't have been lost. If you break down Blizzard World, not controlling the Brig, Kalios gets demech for no reason. A recontest with a bunch of ults that really everybody and their mother should have been able to see, and that they're just the fight planning just isn't there from Boston. If I could put my hat on one thing, the old execution, the way that they're playing, is the fight planning just isn't there. And I think that's such an important thing to say because Boston players are good. They're good. People are going to go, oh, these guys are washed. That's not really the problem that we're seeing here, right? Like Birdring individually playing well enough. I think, you know, Lee Jae Gong fed sometimes when he shouldn't have fed. Kalios didn't know how to adjust into the Sigma. And Kalios is getting demeched, I think, too much in Diva as well. I think taking too much damage. But like, it's not that simple to say that these guys are washed, right? Now, I know I'm a bleeding heart when it comes to this stuff, and I know I have a reputation for doing gatekeeping, that kind of trash talk. But I want you guys to see, right, how many fights were lost because any of these individual players suck versus they didn't kite an ultimate, or they used the wrong ultimate, or there's a miscommunication, or they weren't playing the matchup exactly right. You know what I'm saying? That's like as much of a factor as mechanics are. And Boston is good enough to beat a lot of the worst or mid-table teams off of just raw mechanics, but they're not going to be able to compete with teams like Atlanta that can meet them toe-to-toe with mechanics, if not surpass them, and probably have better understanding and execution and team play. Like, one of the things that Atlanta does is they're not just good mechanical players. The level of team play and coordination from that team is just on another level. They're just so much better. Even if not even thinking about macro and understanding, they're just better team players, right? Not even team players, they just have better teamwork. So, you know, that's it. That's it. What a good match. I am very glad. Every now and then it's nice to have a change of pace and not to have like a 5-map sweat struggle. It's cool to just see one team struggled. You know? Boston gets 3-0'd by Glads or Florida. I would probably, I don't know. I think, I would say Glads or Florida are favorites there. I like doing weekly power rankings. Whoever, I think, is it Vast and Custa who do their weekly power rankings, I think that's probably the best way of doing things, honestly. Because you could judge a team generally pretty good how they play on a week-to-week basis, but that always changes, right? Like Atlanta right now, monstrous. Florida, honestly, right now, looks really strong right now. Vancouver's on a high point, but, you know, metas change, metas shift, mentalities change. Somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. I mean, you literally can lose matches, just stuff like that. Does this team make you think of the former Washington Justice? Yes. Yeah. Obviously, because some of the players are still here, but very talented. Are they going to be able to execute? Yeah. Because you can't judge an entire season based off of this kind of stuff. You never know what's going to happen, right? If we go into Sigma meta, you know, put Bird Ring on hit scan, you know, crazy stuff. Good match. I do not want to see Glads in a Sigma meta. Yeah. All right, here's what we're gonna do, chat. We're gonna do a little bit of Ask Spilo really fast because I'm trying to catch up on Ask Spilo. You know, actually, no, I'm gonna save it for Thursday. Every Thursday we do Ask Spilo in my Discord, !Discord. You guys can check that one out. But I'm gonna stay consistent. Yeah, these Widow highlights were really awesome today. Like some really good stuff. I enjoyed that one a lot. Do you guys have any questions before we wrap this up? I'll try and check chat. If I miss any questions, just holler. Oh, what questions? See, this is why I asked what questions. I have Overwatch on my phone, or Twitch stream on my phone. Excuse me, not Overwatch. So I don't catch everything. What do you think of the patch notes? Go back to the start of stream, but the TLDR is that mostly good. The tank specific stuff I think was the best part of it, honestly, and in my opinion. Exclamation mark Discord. This guy is such a joker. You think Orisa is playable in Al right now? I don't think so, no. I don't think so. I think she might be playable in a couple of points, but I don't think she's super good right now. I think one of the sleeper reasons why Orisa is not too good is I think that her ultimate is kind of dookie at like higher levels. It's a lot like Diva Bomb. Like one of the reasons why Diva wasn't as popular and all this is I think that her ultimate's fairly easy to play around at a higher level, and like having a bad ultimate is a pretty bad problem at a high level. Am I following East a little bit? Yes, I reviewed an Eastern match last week. I only have time to review one match a week. I do companion streams on Saturdays about the same time, so if you guys are interested in that. I know Avast wasn't doing companion stream last week, so I main Tracer and I want to get more heroes in my hero pool. What are some great heroes to pick up that don't require tons of hours? But it's nothing about Hanzo. Yeah, Hanzo, but remember the goal is always to find what you enjoy playing XG3NE. So I'm not going to even tell you the answer. The answer is any hero that you enjoy playing is going to be easier to pick up because you're going to be happy to put the time in. Don't try and cheat the system. How do you feel about Biotic Nerf? I'm not as much of a fan. I don't like the Ana nerfs as a whole that we've continued to see just because Ana is a very popular hero, but it's because Ana is a good hero and a balanced hero for the most part. When we can get Moira and Mercy and Lifeweaver up to speed and Ana is still achieving high pick rates and high win rates, then we can cross that road when we get there. But as it is right now, it feels like we're nerfing a support just because at least 3 of the other supports are just either obnoxious or worthless. I peaked Grandmaster. I peaked Grandmaster in like season 12. I played flex support. I played Grandmaster because I wanted to do it just for my own satisfaction, and then I quit playing ranked after that. I play ranked occasionally now, casually, just a little bit, and I'm masters on all roles, but that's not saying that much. Shut up, Keel. Shut up, Keel. But I mostly just play ranked just to play like off meta heroes and to get better at coaching the micro and the off meta. So like I'll play like Mei, Orisa, what's the other one I was playing? Brig. Just because I'm trying to get this like I played a lot of Kiriko as well on a release, so I could do a guide on her. I like trying to have at least a little bit of playtime on new heroes or hero reworks so that I can coach them a better. Like Mei wasn't exactly a hero rework, but she does play a lot differently in Overwatch 2, so I wanted to like understand the hero's dynamics a little bit better. But Anazen are my favorite. Well, I mean, yeah, Anazen are my favorites. I started out as a Genji main. I played Winston, Reinhardt, and Anazen, so I'm the honest hero guy, but I have to play those heroes more so I can coach them better. No Varashi, because the other 3 heroes are completely unplayable. And I just think they're poorly designed. I definitely understand what you're saying, but Ana's not necessarily power corrupt. Is there an update for brain dead teammates on the patch notes? Yes. If you are indeed a brain dead teammate, they're going to hire Jeff Kaplan as a consultant, and he will run to their hammer down their front door and beat them over the head. No, you're good. Base maining Genji couldn't be me. Yeah. Okay. Chat, I'm gonna head out. I will see you guys Thursday. We're gonna have some coaching. We're gonna have some Ask Spilo. We're gonna have some Patreon games. We're gonna be doing a lot of fun stuff. It's gonna be a variety stream on Thursday, and then we'll be back with Al Companion stream on Saturday. Loves and kisses. I'm gonna toss a raid over to G-Fest OW. Have a wonderful time. I will see you guys. How much experience do I have in rollout Junkrat? Not much, but I can coach Junkrat. Loves and kisses. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.